Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's sweet.
Turtle time.
Two disgraced turtles give the world one final peek to banish all lies, for it is pure truth they seek. Evil is before them, and it will claim them both, for Amy and Riley will now forsake their death oath. This is Turtle Time.
Oh my God.
My name is Riley Hamilton.
This is Amy Scarlatta, and I'm yet again shocked by your emotional depths that you've been coming from with these poems.
Well, I want that to let the audience know that you and I are both sort of in a distressed place in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Evil is always coming for us.
Are you wearing your undergarments?
This week?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. And then I wanted to highlight something that I learned about the Mormon church this week, which I thought was very carefully handled, but not scrutinized enough, on the show. Death oaths.
Yeah.
Heather from Salt Lake City was during her mission was crafting death oaths.
Yeah.
Did you think that was sort of
It was very Scientology vibes.
Yeah. And it's something I don't think they talk about that very often.
Right. Because it's like scary.
A little scary. And PR wise, a bad name for them.
Yeah.
Right?
What was it? It's like you swear on your life to keep their secrets.
Yes. I think under penalty of death. Vow to keep church's ceremonies secret under penalty of death.
Eyes wide shut vibes.
Yeah, totally. And then Heather even gave the universal symbol for killing.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And Whitney was like, "What's a death vow?" And she goes, wasn't that kind of wild?
Yeah, that was crazy. I liked, we're not going to get into it yet, but I enjoyed the religion conversations that happened this week with
too.
Monica and stuff.
Me
I
too.
was like, hell yeah, I could talk about this all day.
Me too. I loved it. And I also love how Jack's mission is going to affect all of them because, wait, maybe we shouldn't talk about it now. But
Yeah, let's wait.
I do, okay. But I do like that it does seem like religion is going to be at the forefront because
Yeah.
Jack's, or what was his name?
Jack.
Oh, Jack. Yeah,
Right?
that Jack is going to be going on a mission and it's going to have a lot of different narratives that form around that.
Yeah,
How Lisa's
and
going to handle
Heather's
it.
like the Mormon police now because she
Yes.
doesn't want anyone to be Mormon, and if you're not fully Mormon, you're not totally a Mormon, and like she's confused about how you can be partially Mormon,
Yeah.
even though it seems like a lot of people are not as intense as she was.
Yeah, and we sort of got the question answered about Lisa's
Yes.
orthodoxness
Yes.
in the Mormon church.
I was like scribbling down. I was like, this is just what we were asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we have a few items to talk about
Yes.
off the bat.
So this is Turtle Time.
It is.
Right.
Yes.
And we have, we want to talk about news first
I
because
think so.
this was a huge news
There's a lot
week,
going on.
right?
Yeah. I guess the first fresh item that I just saw this morning is that Lindsay Hubbard has spoken out
Yes.
about her breakup with Carl.
Yeah, on Instagram, right?
Yeah, it's like a notes app situation. It's pretty long. I don't think I need to read the whole thing, but it's essentially like, thank you for giving me the space to process my emotions and grieve the loss of not only my relationship, but my friendship with someone I considered my best friend for 8 years. So like, they're not even gonna be fucking friends anymore. Like, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
She said her entire life and future was ripped out from underneath her.
Whoa.
She's had a hard time making sense of it all with no answers or closure on why. She's humiliated, heartbroken, her trust was betrayed, not her decision, and she doesn't agree with quitting a relationship, parentheses, at this level, without trying everything possible first.
Right.
So there's more, but you guys will see it. But it's like, I don't know. She's really just 100% laying it on Carl. She is saying she had no idea, that she doesn't agree, that she thinks they should have fought harder.
Yeah. They didn't try everything.
Right. So I'm curious to see what the show will have, the months before this will look like on the show, because it sounds like they were fighting a lot.
Yes.
So it sounds like she shouldn't be completely surprised.
Right. Craig Conover was on a Amazon Live which like a lot of
Everybody's
Bravo
doing
celebrities go on
these.
Amazon Live, and
I don't
they,
even
and
get what that is.
I guess you just Amazon pays you as a Bravo celebrity to like talk for an hour and answer questions, and then usually a lot of revelations come. Like when Sheena used her Amazon Live, she was like talking about the the Tom Sandoval meditation thing that she did, where she was his partner in Utah. Where did they go for Lisa's restaurant?
Oh yeah, Tahoe.
Anyway, she was like, it's a place where they can, I guess, talk about details of the season. I don't know if Bravo likes that.
Is it on an Amazon account?
I have no clue, actually. I got to start watching them.
Confusing.
But anyway, Craig was like, someone asked him, were you blindsided like Lindsay about this news? And he said, without spoiling anything, he said that there were a lot of issues this summer for them that they were all witness to. But out of context, he can see why it is so shocking to us if we just saw what we saw on Instagram, knew that they were 2 weeks away from, the reservations being locked in or whatever. But he says, I thought what he was saying is that there's going to be a lot of conflict we're going to see between them. And I don't think we'll be as blindsided by the news once we see what Carl and Lindsay were dealing with this summer on Summer House.
Did he say if he's going to keep his Mexico reservation or not?
He did. He said, I don't know about you all, but I'm definitely going to go to Mexico instead. And I did like in Carl's email that he sort of laid out exactly what they could do, like trip-wise.
Well, I love that he was like, so if you guys didn't see this, the email from Carl to the entire wedding party or guests leaked, and it lays out all of the options of like how you can either get your money back, still take the trip, take an alternate trip at his expense of switching the reservations or whatever. But I love that he was like, if you choose to still go to Mexico because of the great group rate, he was like, there's a fantastic group rate, like encouraging people to like still use it.
I really like that. And it does seem like they got some leniency from the hotel for people to still cancel. Yeah. Man, imagine
they got like until, I think it was like yesterday, Wednesday, they had, and then,
So we're still going, you and I mean, the group rate was amazing. And there is a huge chance that like Kyle and Amanda and different people take advantage of this Mexico trip, and we get this runoff from Carl and Lindsay's wedding. Maybe we host a wedding of our own, not you and I, but 2 people there to sort of replace Carl and Lindsay's. Yeah.
Do you think that Lindsay will be furious with anyone that chooses to still go?
I think no. I think knowing Lindsay, she will celebrate that. By the time November comes around, I think she will think it's sort of fun that her family and friends still go on that trip, and maybe she would even go.
It's literally Sex and the City movie when they have to keep the luxury Mexico honeymoon and all the girls go, and Carrie spends the first few days in a Mexicoma.
Right. And remember we were watching that together, and there are no scenes where Sarah Jessica Parker and what's the
Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall are actually in the same frame.
Until they go to dinner.
There's one scene where you could possibly say they were sitting on the same side and being filmed at the same time. But if you watch that movie, they did it in a way where I don't think they had to be in any scenes apart from maybe 1 or 2 the entire time they filmed that movie. It's kind of wild to see. Yeah,
it was like distracting once we realized.
And like you could see like there will be shots where Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie, is in the frame. You see her face, and then Kim Cattrall is looking at her, but it could totally be someone in a blonde wig, a stand-in, sitting there.
Yeah, I feel like until Mexico, because Kim Cattrall does feed Carrie yogurt in bed, which became clear that she was actually feeding her yogurt. And then can you imagine feeding your enemy yogurt on a spoon?
Absolutely not. And I'm sure that might have been the final straw to where. But then they did Sex and the City too.
Yeah.
But I haven't looked at that to see if the same rules apply where they can't.
Right, because Samantha's in that whole movie. Not like in the first one, they banish her to LA. But in the second one, they're together the whole time.
I would really like to look at that through the lens of seeing if they didn't actually shoot any scenes together. But the reason we talked about that, is just because this plot reminds us, calls to mind Sex and the City.
Yes. She's jilted and has to potentially go to Mexico to use her reservation.
What if Lindsay goes to Mexico because it's like a celebratory thing? You remember when Ariana Madix went to that wedding that she'd already previously had plans to? And then she put her Instagram back up and she said, I'm having the time of my life now.
She was wearing that like watermelon colored dress.
Yeah, it was sort of like I am coming back into the world now.
That was like the first we saw of her, and everyone was like, we can breathe a sigh of relief.
We
She's
all-
going to be okay.
Do you remember LA that night? You heard just the deep breath of
People
relief
were clanking pots and pans like for the first responders.
Exactly right. And she said, what doesn't kill me, better run.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So maybe Lindsay could have that moment in November. It'll be a little far, but
Yeah.
if she does decide to go and we keep our reservations, maybe we could make it our mission to make Lindsay have as much fun as she would have had she married Carl.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way we could have done that? Do that?
I don't want to hang out with her.
Oh, really? What if talking to us, she sees herself in a new light and we offer constructive criticism and
We have a summit.
And we sort of get to the bottom of what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And then we let Lindsay have one of the best times of her life. And then she moves on to a new happy place forever. And we would have been the cause of it.
Yeah. Should we tell her to take Stravi back?
I would say definitely reconsider Stravi because I think she was a little harsh on him.
Yeah.
Also, it was a COVID season.
Yeah.
And there were theories that Stravi was playing Minecraft the entire time in his office and he wasn't actually working, which I will say, if that's true, Lindsay did have a right to be a little mad at him. But there was I don't know, actually. Do you think Stravi and Lindsay should get back together?
I don't know what kind of guy she needs, quite honestly.
Can we speculate in the entire Bravo universe who Lindsay should be with? You know who was kind of good?
Who?
Luke and Lindsay had a little bit of, I would say, fireworks shooting off them whenever they were in the same scene together.
I do not see that going well.
Okay. Speculating further on
Isn't he dating a bachelorette or something?
I'm not sure. I haven't followed Luke since Bravo kicked him to the curb.
I think he's dating someone from the Bachelor universe.
What about Shep and Lindsay? Too horrible.
Okay.
No, okay. No one from Vanderpump Rules. I mean, Tom Sandoval is not going to start dating Lindsay. Schwartz is not going to date Lindsay.
What about a woman?
Okay.
That could be interesting.
Sure. Yeah, sorry to only speculate.
Bronwyn?
Bronwyn and Lindsay? Sure.
Absolute chaos.
All right. Well, we thought about it, and our two answers are Bronwyn and Shep. That was an easy exercise.
Love it.
Yeah.
My thing that I grapple with thinking about this whole scenario is that, like, Danielle is just fully going to support her now.
Oh.
And Lindsay's never going to have to answer for anything she did because now she's in a devastated situation where she just gets a pass forever because she's so sad.
Yeah.
And Danielle's just going to spend 24/7 helping her recover from this.
Yep.
And she didn't get anything when her and Robert broke up. Robert followed us on TikTok, by the way.
Robert Siegler, I think his last
Yeah.
name was. I go, who the hell is this? Who's verified on Instagram and TikTok? And then I parsed it further.
Yeah.
And it's Danielle's ex-boyfriend.
Love you.
Robert.
If you're listening.
That's amazing. I mean, we've been singing your praises to high heaven for the last 6 months, so thank God you followed us, and I saw that you're a Villa Rosa VIP as well. You signed up to our Patreon. I love that. Thank you so much, Robert. We're huge fans of Robert.
I mean, if anything, he made the most impact to Carl. You know what I mean? Like,
in what?
when he made him face the facts.
That was, oh my God. That's why Robert likes us. Because we
Yeah.
were the ones who
We
said,
praised him so hard.
Robert defended Danielle's honor like a knight in an old Arthurian legend. The way
Yeah.
he said, Carl, can't you see from Danielle's perspective? And it blew Carl's goddamn
ran
mind.
away.
He had to run away from Robert's pure
He took the mic off.
righteousness.
Yeah.
He goes, get this mic off me. I felt like I'm starting, well, this is just a side note, but I do think people are starting to fourth wall break too much as a trope. And I feel like Carl perpetuated a fourth wall. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't need to do that.
It was surprising coming from him, though, because he's usually pretty, I don't know, buttoned up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Robert is king for that. Would love if him and Danielle got back together, quite honestly.
I liked that their end was not so tragic and horrific, and it was just because logistically it couldn't work out. Like, that's an underrated aspect of why relationships fail.
Yeah.
They still loved each other.
Yeah.
He defended Danielle.
He just works too much.
He works way too much as a chef.
Yes. But so I'm afraid. And someone not to bring it back to Sex and the City, maybe this is why I thought that in the first place, but someone posted a meme of, I think it was like Carrie smashing Big with the roses outside the wedding that he didn't show up for. And Danielle commented, "You can consider me Charlotte from now on," because Charlotte is the one that like goes off on Big about it and says like, "I rue the day you were born," or whatever she says. And I'm like, dang, you're, because she was friends with Carl too, and now that's over.
Yeah. What's that proverb? Like, good guys never prosper, or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That old proverb. Anyway, it sort of is indicative of Danielle and Lindsay, where Danielle is so nice and has a good spirit and genuinely cared for Lindsay, and now Lindsay got this, like you just said, the biggest emotional pass.
Yeah.
To, and then she gets to reap all the rewards of Danielle's good spirit towards her.
Totally.
But I think it just furthers my not, I won't say love, but my enjoyment of Danielle that she made that decision.
Yeah.
Because it means that the entire time while she was going through the Carl and Lindsay conflict and she felt so burned by them, it makes it seem so true to her.
Yeah.
Because now she's just is still in that place. She still loves Lindsay. She still wants to be there for her. And that's why she felt so spurned by them.
And she was right that their relationship was a fraud.
So she gets one of those rare private wins.
Yeah.
She's never going to do the I told you so, but she gets to be victorious just knowing that she was right, but she'll never be the person who says it.
Right. I hope that all of those people online, and you know who you are, that said she was psycho and that Carl and Lindsay are a fantastic couple and nothing is wrong and that they were perfect for each other and Danielle was evil and trying to ruin it. I hope you guys really take a minute to think about what you said.
Yeah. The exact opposite was true in every single case. Like I couldn't even, I mean, we talked about it so much, but I couldn't even get into the mindset of someone who felt like that the entire time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Danielle is fully vindicated, and she's not even doing the thing. She's not pulling an I told you so. She is going to be there for her friend like she always has.
She's a
been.
winner.
Yeah.
She's like golden. Ethically, like she's not rubbing it in their face. She's just saying, you know, I said I would be there for you, even though you weren't there for me, but I will be here now. And, you know, again, I do think this scenario is sad. Like, I'm shocked that I actually feel so bad for Lindsay Hubbard. Like, I didn't think that was possible, but it's obviously like a fucked up situation. And I'm shocked that Carl went about it this way. So I really need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like what happened, if he was just in a fugue state this whole time and snapped out of it and like walked out of the room and was like, I'm never coming back. Like what happened?
I'm going to be a stinker devil's advocate.
Okay.
So this is not Riley Hamilton talking. This is a little devil on my shoulder using my mouth to state an opinion. I believe, based off what Craig said, that there is going to be some knockdown, drag-out fight between Carl and Lindsay, or maybe a few of them, that will curdle our blood when we see it. Like the worst fight you've ever seen, possibly on television. And that their reactions to that fight, which I think we've talked about this before, are so different to where I don't think Carl can take many of those. I'm not saying that's not a criticism of Carl. I just think that they have a different reaction to those types of fights. And I feel like when we're watching Summer House, just like how we feel emphatically about that Danielle was in the right the entire time in the Carl Lindsay drama, we are going to see some huge, witness some huge events that happen in the relationship. And we're going to be like, Lindsay, I don't necessarily think this was a blind side.
Right. I agree.
But that was a devil's advocate. That wasn't me
I agree.
talking.
I think there's totally going to be, because remember, like we said last time, Paige at that event or podcast or whatever in July was saying that there's major tea about their relationship. So I think everyone that was there, like Craig said, had witnessed a potential slow demise.
Yes.
Or a volatile summer, that if she was really thinking deeply about the state of their relationship and maybe what she was bringing into it or how they were interacting leading up to this wedding, that she should have been like, we need to like pause. Like, what the fuck is going on? I think she's just so hell-bent on getting hitched and getting pregs, because I get it. The clock's ticking. She has her eggs frozen. She's ready to go. But like, you have to still know the state of your relationship and understand if it's worth moving forward.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we don't know. We're just speculating. I do wish this moment in time was captured by either Summer House or when does Winter House film? Is it early, like in the early parts of like February, or is it late parts of like November and December? I think
it was like early in the year because remember it was like during Sandoval.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So March.
Yeah.
Okay. So even then, I was thinking if like Carl was on Winter House or Lindsay was on Winter House, it's still way after the fact. Like we're not going to actually see this state of their relationship in disrepair on any show.
Right.
Right?
Well, wait, so when did they finish filming Summer House? Like September?
Well, I think it was
It's
like,
September now.
yeah, I think it was middle of August, and then they picked up right at the end of August. But I'm saying the post breakup,
the fallout,
this
the
part,
fallout.
Danielle comforting Lindsay,
Right.
Carl going, God knows where to like think about himself. We're not going to have this moment captured because Winter House films in another 4 months or whatever, and then we have to wait an entire year to see what this did to their relationship.
I wonder if they only got the breakup. Like they can only pick up for so long. Like maybe a few production days, not like a month.
Yeah, no.
So
So anyway, that's
I can't wait. I still can't believe that this happened.
Me neither. And it's there is like conspiracy theories that this whole thing was set up. I mean, there's conspiracy theories about everything, but this is this was not. I mean, this is real, and the way they're reacting to this is real. I mean, Carl is talking about canceling your reservations and filling out Google Forms to make sure you get your money back. It's like
it's so like boring and specific.
This is logistical and practical and messy, and it really happened. And their reactions and what they're saying so far makes it seem very real.
Right.
RadHouse fell.
I know. It's crazy. Who do you think leaked that email?
I think they both leak. I think that People magazine, for some reason, has an inordinate amount of stories about Carl and Lindsay based off Lindsay's like PR past.
Yeah.
They seem to get like a lot of exclusives. So I think
people were memeing about that.
Really?
About how Paige called them out, about People Mag, and then, of course, all of the breakup coverage. The initial announcement was not People, but this very specific email, which could have come direct from the horse's mouth, was in People.
Yeah, and then I think it was Dave Quinn who works for People, and he was like, no, for the engagement photos when they were like, they surprised them on the beach and got those photos or whatever. He's like, no, this is just the turnaround time we had. We were able to get there instantly or whatever.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't know. I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with the PR and press of it all. Like, on RHONY, the Page 6 stuff that's always coming up, and the implication that certain women are always leaking stuff about the show. Like, I think it's funny and interesting, but at the same time, I kind of like don't want to know.
Me neither.
Like, it's too inside baseball where I'm like, I kind of want to suspend some disbelief and stay outside of the sausage machine, so to speak.
Yeah. Stay out of the sausage machine. I totally understand.
But remember in Andy's book, he says he met someone from Page 6 at like Cannes, and he was like, they were like, we can't, she was like, I can't name names. Like, he was like, who leaks the most? And they were like, I won't tell you, but if you guess, I'll tell you if you're right. And he said he got them all right. Yeah. And I was like dying to know.
And then he said, it's exactly who you think on RHONY.
Jill.
Yeah. Ramona.
Yeah.
Ramona leaks. I mean, I think Luann. I think Sonia doesn't care about it enough.
Yeah, I
not
don't think
really.
Sonia's like organized enough to be doing that.
But Ramona and Luann, I can see it. They seemed.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do you think Luann?
Probably.
Okay.
She's
I'm
like
sure.
Very active.
Yeah. Dorinda. You think Dorinda?
It's just all of them. It's every single one.
So. I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then in LA, we have to say LVP to Radar.
Oh, we know she did that, right?
Goodbye, Kyle.
Goodbye, Kyle. I just rewatched that scene for the first time in forever since it initially aired, I think, or when I watched it like when did it happen? 2 or 3 years ago? 2 or 3 seasons ago. It was so impactful. I get why Goodbye, Kyle is such a what's that called? Like a catchphrase now in the Bravo universe. Ken was fired up.
He gets scary when people cross Lisa.
Oh my! He was almost knock you
Spark
out, but not to Kyle. But he was so pissed. They're stamping up and down the stairs. Like
He's carrying a dog, right?
he's carrying a dog, of
Always.
course. Power move.
Man.
that was
Need
was
to watch that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we were just talking about Winter House, should we cover that trailer that
Sure.
came out?
Sure. What were your? I've seen it like 2 or 3 times now,
Okay.
so I feel well versed in what it is. What were your initial impressions of that trailer?
Well, I don't know if I was just out of the loop or what, but I didn't know about the below deck of it all at all.
I was out of the loop too, and I didn't know the absence of Southern Charm.
Right.
I mean,
That's a little sad.
very sad. I mean, they were the house upon which Winter House was built, one of the houses.
Right.
It was mainly a Southern Charm summer house mashup
Yes.
with a little sprinkle of VPR when, remember, Tom and Tom came
Right.
the second season?
Yeah.
So I feel like all of the below deck people are like, they're getting as much as they can to replace, the amount of fun and chaos that would have came from Craig and Paige and
Right.
Austin being there.
Yeah. What did they, in the caption of the trailer, they did like a jokey, like really long title where it was like, summer, below deck, winter house. It was, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Below deck karma house rules.
Yeah.
Is the joke they meant, which I've never watched, Karma, what's it called?
Family Karma?
Family Karma. I've heard it's good.
Okay.
It's really hard to add new series at this point because
Yes.
our plates are so full with
Right.
just the regular Housewives, and like now Southern Charm's coming back. So we have Atlanta, RHONY, Salt Lake, OC, and Southern Charm.
Right.
Like, I'm going to lose my mind. And then Winter House soon.
Yeah, and then Below Deck seems like its own universe.
Totally.
Basically,
it's
its own
overwhelming.
Housewives universe. But I did think that Brian from Family Karma, who I've never seen 1 second of before,
Mm-hmm.
I love that moment in the trailer when he goes, "Look at this wonderful shirt my mom got me." Do you remember
have
that
to
part?
remind me.
He goes, "It's so fun." It's at the end of it, and Brian is so excited about the shirt that his mom got him. I don't know if his mom is maybe a prominent fixture
Probably.
like
Yeah.
Patricia, where it's like, you'll be excited that my mom got me this, but
Yeah.
without context, you're just like, this guy's talking about his mom. He goes, "Look at this shirt my mom got me." And Danielle goes, "Who cares?" And she throws it off. He goes, my mom got me that shirt. And then Danielle goes, "We're trying to party." It was really fun.
Wow.
Danielle seems like she hooks up with someone, and then that person instantly starts hooking up with someone else within the same, Winter House time that
Got
they're
it.
there. So that seemed a little fun.
Yeah, I can't believe, no offense, but like, did Jason need to come back?
Who's Jason?
The one that made
Oh.
a baby with Lindsay Hubbard.
Oh yeah, right. He came on Summer House for like one episode and came and
He's
partied
just
with
like,
them.
he's a nice guy, but it's like, why do they think he needs to be in the
Yeah,
mix?
I'm not sure. Winter House is a testing ground
Yeah.
for talent.
Totally.
Because did Andrea came from the first season of Winter House, right? And then was such a success that he was able to come to
that what
Summer House. I'm pretty sure. Oh gosh, we're like scrambling here. Anyway, it's convoluted, but
Yeah, Corey, come on.
yeah, I'm sort of like I'm so distanced from the Corey Sam
Yeah.
dynamic that
Well,
I
there's rumors on the streets
That-
that Corey's a cheater.
really.
Yeah.
I would have never, ever imagined that Corey would ever cheat on Sam. This beautiful relationship that we saw on Summer House.
Always taking those film photos and posting unlimited carousels on Instagram.
Do you
from
think
their
those are
nights out.
cool?
I mean, I think she thinks they're really cool.
Sam does?
Yeah.
Sam thinks that what Corey is doing on Instagram is really cool.
Isn't she the one that posts them?
I'm not sure. I haven't.
I don't follow them.
I didn't really. I haven't. I didn't love a lot of the casting decisions on last season of Summer House. Chris, Gabby,
Yeah.
Corey. I was like, you stay in Winter House.
Yeah.
You know,
Banished.
you're banished to Winter House. You're a winter man.
Totally.
Right?
No, he's like an extra
Yeah. So
add-on.
So I'm not, but then I guess I think Bravo strategically wants to make Below Deck a part of the romantic entanglements of the under 42
It
world.
could be a good idea.
Well, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, any cross-platform relationships are so good for the shows. We've seen that with Paige. We've seen that with, what, who else? Is Paige the only one? Craig
Sierra.
Yeah, Sierra. So I think that they just want to create any dynamic they can that will let you and me get to a place where we want to watch Below Deck and Family Karma because we want to see when Danielle goes on Family Karma to talk about why she threw Brian's mom's shirt on the floor. Like, all of that is good for Bravo.
Yeah, like when Luke and Ashley Darby dated.
Right. Is that on season 7 of Potomac?
I don't think they dated long enough for it to make it on.
So I before you and I created Turtle Time, this sacred enterprise, I sort of put Potomac on the back burner because I was not getting a lot of thrill from it in general. But I'm going to catch up. Is Ashley Darby's downfall of her relationship with Michael Darby on the last season of Potomac? Or does it happen after?
It is, but they're weird and like
Wait. They're weird? Michael Darby?
He's a little weird.
Michael Darby.
They have an unconventional breakup / divorce where they might still buy a house together. Like, so it's kind of vague. Like, people are like, are you divorced or not? Like, so it's kind
sort
of
like Ralph and Drew, although they seem more antagonistic, but it's still like, I mean, they're living together. They're doing everything together.
And I think something, I won't spoil it, but remember, well, you haven't watched all of it, but she had a prenup that was like, if we're together X number of years, I'm due more or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think something happened where they were together long enough that it or they didn't make it long enough, something where the deal lapsed. So she wasn't really like getting anything from him. Like, you'll see. It's like,
because it was tiered. It was like 2 to 5 years, you get this.
Yeah.
2 to 5.
Or maybe she was just shy of the next tier or something like that.
I think she begun the next tier and didn't make it or whatever. Ashley was so ride or die for Michael Darby. He did some of the wildest shit ever to appear on Bravo. And Ashley was just like, don't talk about him.
Oh my God.
I love this man more than life itself. We are going to create that kangaroo-themed restaurant.
Oh my God.
Called.
She's like, I'm going to drink Corona Lights until I die.
That was cool.
Which I love.
I love that too.
I love her dedication to it.
They single-handedly put Corona Lights on the Bravo map.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And always with a little lime wedge.
Yeah.
Ashley Darby's kind of like, my thoughts on her are that she's like sort of a producer surrogate on that show. Mm-hmm. She doesn't really get in the weeds, doesn't like get too, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking from like 2 years ago when I watched Potomac.
I like her.
Okay, good. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I'm not like obsessed, but I have goodwill towards her.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't wish ill on her.
But yeah, I don't know when that's coming back, but we need some time.
We need some time.
Yeah.
Right? We can't have 6 active shows.
So speaking of cross-pollinization.
Which we were speaking of.
Yes. Dancing with the Stars, Mauricio confirmed. Ariana confirmed.
Ariana is confirmed. And then we talked last week about those secret bracelets that Mauricio was wearing in that photo. When then he had those bracelets and he was being covered in a big sack when he was arriving to the studio.
Yeah.
It is Mauricio, but the only Bravo talent is Mauricio and Ariana, right?
I think so. Yeah, there's some weird ones like
Matt Walsh from UCB.
Walsh. What the hell?
Matt Walsh.
Why does he want to do that?
How are they going to describe him? I've worked with Matt
Veep?
Walsh before.
He seems like a nice guy.
He is nice.
Yeah.
A wonderful, wonderful man.
I mean, Veep was popular.
Matt Walsh, when you listen to Turtle Time, just know Amy and I love you. I've worked with him twice in the past.
Nice.
He's a nice man. I don't know how he's going to fare dance-wise.
Improv king.
He's an improv king, and will his improv instincts lend himself to instinctual dance moves?
Cha-cha. Someone brought up a great point that potentially Lisa will go to support Ariana and Kyle will go to support Mauricio, and they may be forced to connect.
That's a good point. Devil's advocate, which is just a devil on my shoulder, not me. Lisa's not going to come to see Ariana at Dancing with the
Never,
Stars.
not once. She's an alum of Dancing with the Stars.
She left in pure disgrace.
Yeah, maybe she's banished.
I think she's absolutely banished for faking that faint that she did.
I could see them, Lisa, strong-arming a producer that she has a connection with from her stint into filming a remote where for some dumbass reason Ariana goes to Sir or Tom, like, and
my
like
God.
has to like do a cha-cha at Sir or something.
I think you're right. So I don't know Dancing with the Stars in terms of any of what it is or what it does or what any of the functions of it are, but are there a lot of people that are included that come to support them?
I think that's usually part of it, like their family, especially if their family are notable or famous friends, they always cut to them.
So Kyle will go there.
Definitely.
Kyle's a good
probably with
dancer.
all the daughters.
Kyle's a good dancer.
Yeah, she can do the freaking splits. She should have done it.
Why won't she?
I don't know.
Tom Sandoval in this interview when he was talking about his new reality show, Special Forces World's Toughest Man, he said Ariana always wanted to go on Dancing with the Stars.
He said that?
And he says he supports it and he will vote for her every time. And then the guy said, the interviewer goes, over Mauricio? And he goes, yes. So there's...
He's going to be dialing up. Is it the same it used to be, like where you have to like call on the phone, or is it like online now?
Call on the phone to vote?
Yeah.
I think I read that you call and they say, you know, it's a live person. They say, who did you want to vote for tonight after seeing them dance? And then you say, Ariana, right?
Because remember on American Idol, they each had a number.
Yeah.
And it would be like 866 Idol, like blah, blah, blah. And then it would be like for Kelly Clarkson, it would be like 08 or whatever. And you would just keep calling like a million times. And it would
Wow.
be busy.
Yeah.
You'd call again.
I remember those days. Yeah. Can I go on one very quick 30-second tangent?
Yes.
You know, in those shows where it was like you can call a friend on like Whose Line
Yeah.
Is It? Or not Whose Line Is It anyway. You don't call friends on that. But on
Millionaire.
You
Yeah.
call a friend.
Phone a friend.
So that show was worldwide, global. And in 90% of the countries, when people would call a friend, they would help them out and give them the right answer to try to help them win the million.
Yeah.
But in Russia, when they had that show, people would actively, if they called a friend or whoever they called, those people would actively try to give the wrong answer so that these people could not become millionaires.
Why?
And oh, I'm sorry, there's an audience participation part of it, not the friend phone call. That's the part where if they leaned on the audience to see what they all thought, Russians. Now, I'm not trying to disparage Russians, or wait, maybe I should, but they actively would try to stop the contestant from getting the $1 million. It's like one of the only countries that did that.
So you should zig when they zag.
So whatever they say, if they say who invented the who was early in the atomic bomb testing, and it says Einstein,
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, and the audience says Einstein, you take your two off that you think are absolute bullshit, like not like Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
And what's another hypothetical? Just to throw you off.
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye. Oh, those are really good strategic. So if it said Albert Einstein, Bill Nye, what was that third one I said?
Oppenheimer. Freud.
Sigmund Freud. If the audience says,
I'm like Barbie.
if the audience says Albert Einstein, and you can already discredit Bill Nye and that other Sigmund
Please
Freud.
stop trying to list them. You're doing like the memory test on yourself, and it's not working.
Sorry, that was I'm so sorry. That was a quick tangent, but I just want to say that that doesn't
Wow.
happen in the United States of America. We, for some reason, say what you will about our country that we live in, but we don't.
We help our
We
audience.
purposefully do not try to mislead contestants on reality shows.
Have I told you before that I have gone to The Price is Right a couple times?
You've
And
never told me that.
It's so fun. Everyone, if you live in LA or if you visit LA, I totally recommend it. But I've never felt such goodwill from a crowd. Like when someone from your section gets called up, you feel like it's your brother.
That's
Like you're like, yeah.
That's our spirit.
And everyone's like trying to yell out the prices and stuff. And like when they win, you feel like you've won.
That's that's the camaraderie that happens on American reality TV shows for the most part.
God bless our
except
nation.
Survivor.
Right.
Well, we root for them, but the
Yeah.
people, they're
Alliances.
Is Price is Right? I've never watched 1 second of it. Is it like a lawnmower comes out and they're like, would this cost $129 versus $499?
Yeah, it's like a lot of it is grocery based, or a lawnmower or like a washer dryer or a car, and there's a million different games. Some of them are about the price. Some of them it's like a game of chance. Like there's Plinko where you drop like a puck at the top and it like goes down.
Plinko. Okay.
There's one that talk about Lonely Goat Herd. Sorry, that's a Patreon reference. We were just talking about how we love Lonely Goat Herd from Sound of Music. There's one where I forget what it's called. It's like a guy climbing a mountain and it's like yodelay, and if you want the price to keep going up, he like keeps climbing the mountain.
If you want what price to go up?
Like they're like, do you think it's higher than that? Like it's at $100. Do you think it's $199? He like keeps climbing up the mountain.
And then a little like mountain
little yodeler
keeps
I
going.
forget what it's called, but I highly recommend.
Okay.
I don't know if they're on strike right now.
I think so.
Because I know Drew Carey is a solidarity king, not to be confused with Drew Barrymore, who scabbed it up this week.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You have to say what you said completely. And Bill Maher also.
Scab.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. You're right exactly about that too as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on with our strike, right? And there are people that are starting to peek their heads out, testing the waters to see if they can get away with creating content without writers.
Right. I don't really understand how those loopholes work, but anywho.
Yeah, me neither. We were talking
Dancing
about
with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars. Okay. Well, can I pivot a little bit to another reality show that another Bravo celebrity is? But I'm saying it definitively now. Yes. It hasn't even come out yet. Tom Sandoval is officially on The Masked Singer this season. The clues are like the easiest clues I've ever had in my life.
Has it ever been predicted that quickly?
I think you have to be a Bravo fan, and Bravo fans are so in the weeds. I mean, I guess those are pretty generic clues, but we specifically know. I mean, for a lot of people who aren't familiar with Bravo shows, if you're trying to guess, you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Pumped Up?
Yeah.
He's a hated man.
Yeah.
But once you hear Pump, you're like, Vanderpump. Hated man, okay,
Yeah.
he is the most hated creature under the sea, or whatever the hell he says. And then it's like we already got it. And then the only actual clue was that cardinal.
Right. And we know that he's in bed with Fox.
He loves to be a part of. Well, Fox is really trying to like wean away beautiful talent from Bravo for their own dog shit programs.
Yeah.
I mean, World's Toughest Test. I don't want to be fully disparaging on all of this garbage, Masked Singer and House of Villains, all that absolute shit. But World's Toughest Test, I was kind of like,
think it looks awesome.
They're running.
Should we watch at least the first one?
Sure.
When is it on?
I have no clue.
Soon?
And I think so, because he's gearing up. They just had the red carpet premiere. Okay. But he was like doing burpees or whatever, and he was almost barfing.
Nothing worse.
Burpees?
Hell.
I've done a couple in my life.
Absolute hell.
One of my friends taught me how to do them, and I did them for like one day, and then I never did them again.
It's terrible.
Burpees.
I don't need to be up and down that many times in a row.
No, it's not natural to do that.
No.
And they go, you're going to... One of the Marines, they're being like a Marine archetype where they're like, they yell, Marines. Yeah. Like...
Scum. What do they
you
say?
Scum bucket, piss worm. And he's going, don't break your pretty little fingers, Tom. And he's going, oh, I'm going to barf. Anyway, that actually...
We got to watch it.
All right, Tom Sandoval, you sold us. World's Toughest Test, that seems good.
And he was on, I think, the red carpet for that when they asked him. As most of you saw, I'm sure, he commented happy birthday on Rachel's post where she's frolicking through some flowers. And he said, like, hope you are finding peace and, I don't know, enjoyment on your birthday.
Stop and smell the roses, Rachel.
And then she blocked him.
Yeah, he said, Rachel, what you're doing is perfect to me. I hope you have a wonderful, precious birthday. Miss you, friend.
Yes.
Miss you, friend. So I would have given him the benefit of the doubt on the first two sentences.
Yeah.
Stop and smell the roses. Good job, Rachel. But Miss You Friend is needlessly provocative.
Yeah. Like just mind your business.
And crafted to create controversy. You have to say that. Calling her a friend after everything that we witnessed.
Yeah.
Don't you think that was calibrated to make us have to talk about it?
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I do feel like I was surprised that she blocked him. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I feel like she didn't consider him an enemy until everyone on Earth told her what he did was so bad, like specifically the sex tape. And then she realized that she can no longer associate with him.
Yeah, I mean, by the time the Bethany Frankel podcast came out, which, was illuminating for this aspect, was, she had sort of given up on her relationship with Tom. Like she said, I don't believe we were actually in love. I don't think he was in love with me. I do believe he illegally recorded my FaceTime without consent. And I have no contact with him.
Yeah.
So they weren't in a good place after that interview. And I think he tried to draw her back in and get a little bit of a taste of Sandoval controversy again by using her platform to do that. And she rightfully said, absolutely not. I do not like you anymore, and I don't want you in my life.
Yeah. It's just like hard to watch him be embarrassed over and over again, where they'll be like, so I saw that you wished Rachel a happy birthday. And he's like, yeah, only wishing her the best. And they're like, and then she blocked you. And he's like, yeah. But then I think he went on to call it like thirsty and immature, which I was like, oh, you didn't have to go that hard.
Yeah, he took a shot at her. I mean, as if what he did was not thirsty and immature.
Right.
Like, you really did not need to tell the world publicly that that's how you felt about Rachel on her birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have done that in private. You could, I don't know. There was
DM.
Yeah. I mean, he wanted us to see that, obviously, and he wanted runoff controversy from that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. It sounds like
it's exhausting.
Yeah, and it really sounds like Tom Sandoval has made 90% of the Vanderpump Rules cast members back on his side, I think.
Can't wait to see. We're just, not to promote our Patreon, but we are in a very juicy pocket of season 2 and 3. The one on this coming Monday is the season 2 reunions. And it's extremely relevant to Sandoval. So if you want to revisit the way that he was at that time, his interactions with Ariana versus Kristen, it's honestly a thrill.
It really is. And I mean, promote our Patreon all you want. We also are very, we are going to be discussing the season 3 premiere of Vanderpump Rules, which has the entire Miami Girl scandal.
It starts on season 3, episode 1.
Season 3, episode 1. And coming to the forefront is the fact that Tom and Ariana have admitted that this Miami Girl cheating event happened, and that they were lying through their teeth the entire run of the season. So watching those scenes in context with that new information blew my hair back on Patreon.
No, that's the thing that is like so thrilling about rewatching post Sandoval is everything has new light on it.
Yes.
So you can watch it with fresh baby eyes.
And history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
Oh.
Right?
That's like, sounds like almost like some sort of a Housewives tagline.
History doesn't repeat itself with me. Well, wait, what would someone say?
I don't know how, but it just has that sort of energy to it.
If there was a historian housewife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Has there ever been a Could you imagine the shockwaves that it would create if there was a legendary historian cast on one of the housewives and she was always referring to Churchill and
like
British history?
A book collector, like a vintage book collector.
They've never had a literary figure except Carol.
Right.
And she blew the doors off RHONY. Anyway, Andy Cohen, I know you listen to our Patreon, you listen to Turtle Time. Consider having a historian, and then their tagline could be something like, I've heard that history doesn't repeat itself.
It rhymes.
It rhymes, but then it's basically just relying too much on just that thing I said. They'd have to have a little bit of a twist.
Yeah. What is the Erica Jane one where it's something that sounds like that, where it's like, it's not shimmer, it's gold or something. Anyways,
they say what doesn't shimmer is gold. I don't remember. We got to look through those taglines
Okay.
again. Okay.
Well, that's interesting. And then I know
What was?
everything we just said
Really?
for the first 49 minutes.
Wait, did
Is
you say
that
we
right?
had 50 minutes of interesting content?
Have we really been talking that long? What's
Well,
wrong with us?
when I
I'm
looked
sorry,
at-
you guys.
When I looked at 30 minutes, I was like, what the hell is happening? We're just on RadHouse. Let's just very quickly breeze.
Okay.
I only have 2 little notes.
Okay.
So let's say a huge Turtle Time congratulations to the first official recipient of the Wifetime Achievement Award, Vicki Gunvalson. Andy Cohen declared it the
Yes.
first ever. So the Bravos are a new enterprise.
Yeah.
They're a award show that's going to happen at BravoCon. They are going to be doling out awards, and the first ever recipient of the first ever award of the Bravos is for Vicki, a Lifetime Achievement Award. If you didn't watch this on Watch What Happens Live, Vicki was stunned almost to tears.
She was seriously about to cry.
It
It made me emotional for some reason.
Because we've seen Vicki's plight and her being fired and the trajectory she's had and her
Does that
starting-
mean, oh my God, do you think Bethany fucked up? It could have been her, potentially. But do you think they just wanted to honor the OG of the OC since she's like the first like iconic housewife ever?
I think it had to be Vicki because contextually it makes so much sense to award the first ever person. She was also in Orange County. She was on Watch What Happens Live. Also, she was on currently airing on Orange County.
Yeah.
I think all the stars align. But yeah, it's sort of like it's justifiable in every way that she gets the Lifetime Achievement
What
Award.
number did we put her at?
We gave her like 4.
Okay.
We still need someone sent us a beautiful, amazing Mount Rushmore of our top 4 housewives, and I think we messaged them to see if we could Instagram it.
We should post it tomorrow.
Are we? She would. Whoever sent that to
I
us.
think she said we could.
She did.
I think so.
Oh.
We'll check our DMs.
Okay, but anyway, it's awesome because we did the top 10 housewives, and I think was Vicki number 4.
She was definitely very high.
Anyway, well, so I'm so proud of Vicki.
Yeah. She was a breath of fresh air this week. We will cover that on the OC Minute, but I was honestly thrilled to see her in the mix because usually she can be a little much, but it was working this week.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I will counter that a little bit, but
Wow, I'm surprised.
But my love of Vicki is unrivaled, but I thought there was some missteps that Vicki did, but it doesn't matter.
Well, sure.
This is not a time to drag Vicki. This is a time to celebrate Vicki, and I'm so proud of her. And I honestly thought Andy got a little emotional when he hugged Vicki, seeing her reaction to the Lifetime
I do think
Achievement
he's
Award.
sentimental about the longevity of the Housewives and how far the entire franchise has come.
Yeah.
Because his life has changed so much. I
Yeah.
feel like he really softened after having kids,
Yeah, I think
and he is a little more sentimental now.
so too. I think also a part of him, anytime he sees the talent that he created on early franchises and when they've been thrown to the wayside and then he sees them back, I feel like he's overwhelmed with how powerful they are. Like when Luann and Sonia were promoting Crappy Lake and they were on Watch What Happens Live, they were so fun and dynamic and silly and shocking that I felt like Andy was almost like blown away that this talent had been fired, and then he's been sitting with the new RHONY cast members forever, and he's like, God damn, what the hell did I do? Same with Ultimate
You
Girls.
wish that he was thinking that.
I felt Andy being blown away by
I
their.
mean, he loved Crappy Lake.
Yeah, he loved Crappy Lake, and I think Ultimate Girls Trip season 2 with Dorinda and Phaedra, that just shows you just this talent that exists that was just thrown away. That could be that entertaining with just their runoff overflow talent. Anyway, I do think that Andy might be coming to a new appreciation for Vicki for all the early days.
For sure.
I wanted to ask you one hypothetical before we transcend out of the news.
Yeah.
If you know Bethany, like we know her, Bethany Frankel,
Yeah.
she loves us. She loves Turtle Time. If she could go back in time maybe a year or 2 years, whenever she started to talk about shit about Bravo.
Yeah.
And do you think if she wanted 2 different trajectories? One trajectory is being a TikTok person, reviewing food, starting the reality reckoning, interviewing housewives who have been scorned by the franchise, sort of having this like, I don't want to say like vindictive, but this alternate Bravo universe where she comments on it. Bravo commentator. Or go back in time and she quit, but she still had a good relationship with Andy. She was still included in Ultimate Girls Trips. There's a possibility for a spin-off. It's on this other end is also all the other shows that she tried to start, like Big Shot or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think she would have preferred a Bravo-centric trajectory where she's being awarded and she's going to BravoCon and she's being celebrated as a Lifetime Achievement Award, or this path that she has taken that has led her to here? Which do you think if she could go back in time?
I think she fancies herself a maverick, and now from her point of view, being in the pocket of Big Bravo is unacceptable. Like, I don't
even back in time before she even started to make those decisions. Let's say she just left RHONY for the second time, and she hadn't burned bridges yet.
Yeah.
You're
saying if she saw a premonition of the path that she did go down, if she would say, I'm not going down that path.
A Bravo spirit from the past goes, Bethany,
Marley
one day,
and Marley.
Huh? Yeah.
Marley and Marley.
A total Marley-esque ghost with a bunch of chains around them says, Bethany, one path, what were we saying the two paths were? Bethany, one path you will be canceled for eating seafood in a hotel on TikTok. Or you could be on Ultimate Girls Trip Season 5 with Lisa Vanderpump and Nene and Vicki.
Yeah.
And call it the absolute all-star Ultimate Girls Trip.
Yeah.
Which do you think she would have permitted to
the
allow?
The only premonition she got was her eating seafood out of a bucket. That's the only glimpse she gets.
Bethany, you will take...
The thing is, it's such an impossible question to answer because it would... that would take self-reflection. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like... Yeah, I don't know if she regrets anything.
If she's ever regretted anything.
Yeah.
Her relationship to Jason?
No, because she got little Bryn Hoppy out of it.
Right.
She's obsessed.
Of course. Yeah, no one would regret that if that's your child that came out of it. But
yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird. I think the thing is, it's like, on one hand, you could say it's kind of weird and I'm trying not to be mean.
Oh, okay.
Like, should technically be beneath her to just be TikToking all the live long day. Like, but the thing is, I enjoy the TikToks.
Me
so
too.
when she goes and gets ice cream,
I mean, there
or
is
goes
a world
to TJ Maxx.
There is a world though where, on that trajectory, on the Bravo-centric trajectory, she still could have had a social media
both,
presence.
Sure.
I'm just saying, do you think she ultimately? You think because she's such a maverick and she has no regrets, that she probably always would have taken this path away from Bravo's light?
Yeah. Because I think the only thing that ever drew her back was money.
Oh.
Although I think she's said this. Everyone agrees that you get addicted to filming because then you at least have a public platform to defend yourself and say whatever you want.
I think one thing that Bethany will never admit is that it is Bravo and Bravo's editors and production and everything that put Bethany in the light that we see her now.
Yeah.
And knew what to do with Bethany to provide. I mean, she's a shining star, so she would have shown through anything, but her within the Bravo context was the perfect place. Big Shot and all that other shit that she did didn't capture Bethany's essence as well.
Right.
And I don't think she wants to admit that Bravo was very, a part of the branding or the favorable light that Bethany was cast in.
Yeah. I mean, we've said it before. She has very much bit the hand that fed her.
Yep.
And it's sad because her and Andy, I think, were truly good friends.
Yeah. And I just want to say officially and definitively, I still love Bethany. And I don't at all hate that she let Rachel Leviss come on her podcast without watching all of Vanderpump Rules. I mean, I did at the time, and it could have been a much better interview, but that's like maybe I lower my esteem of Bethany by 0.5 out of
But what if she
10.
continues her Bravo rampage and something happens where there's a reckoning and Andy has to step down and everything crumbles?
Okay, so in this hypothetical scenario,
She's
Andy,
playing with fire.
So Andy, for some reason, becomes...
She's trying to cancel the entire enterprise.
Okay, I don't like that.
Despite it being the only reason she has $100 million.
Do you think she wants Andy dethroned?
I think if she's going to try and do all these exposés about how abusive all of the shows are, and he's the king, he's the face of it, he's the, whether or not, he's just an EP on the Housewives, like the production companies are certainly to blame for any specific filming issues, but like if there's a whole crazy reckoning, like where there's a New York Times article or something, and there's all these insane revelations that if it turns out that Andy knew about X, Y, and Z, like it could be really bad.
Yeah, true.
I'm not saying that if he did do horrible things, I don't think he did, by the way. I'm just doing worst case scenario. Like
right.
what
No, I know what
she
you
is
mean.
acting like is happening underneath. I'm just like, let us live. Let us enjoy our television.
I agree. I agree. I just think that it's not enough because it's so true to Bethany's spirit and what I came to know and love about her, that she would have this sort of maverick, wild, burn it all to the ground personality. And that's part of what I liked about her. If she does end up ruining the Bravo universe, which I don't think she's going to do, then obviously I will have to dock her a couple points. But anyway, I just wanted to ask you that hypothetical. And I did want to talk about the RHONY seating chart, but let's just lump it into that RHONY discussion. I mean, it's very easy to talk about. Do you want to, at the 1 hour mark, take a certified turtle piss break and then get into these shows?
Let's do it.
And then I'll just tell our wonderful little turtle cuties that we are going to start with Salt Lake City, which we think is maybe the most powerful Bravo show in the universe.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Real Housewives of Orange County.
Yes.
And then the dark part of the universe, way out far from the sun, is RHONY.
Yeah.
When we're running on fumes.
Yeah. And we do want to mention that we know that since you're listening to this on Friday, that Southern Charm was on last night. But it would be on too late at night for us to record it and get it out on time. So we're going to talk about it next week. We're going to try and cover on social so that you guys, have up-to-date commentary. But unless something crazy happens and it turns into a 911, we're probably going to cover it the following week.
So if you were here and you just watched the Southern Charm premiere and you're like, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life, why isn't Turtle Time talking about it? It's because in order to get this episode out on Friday, which we know our little turtle cuties love, unless we get screeners for Southern Charm, we cannot fit it into our roster except being a week late. So if you want to be a Turtle Time Southern Charm cutie, wait a few days before you watch Southern Charm and get our fresh hot takes a week late. Yeah. And then also I have a huge question for anyone. If you have access to Bravo screeners and you have Southern Charm screeners, or you're some like hacker on the internet and you're able to crack the code to get like a torrent of early Southern Charm, please, you won't have to give us your identity or anything. It can be completely anonymous and we'll never, ever reveal you. But we would love to get access to Southern Charm screeners early so we could include it hypothetically in our, our week roundup. But
we need a WikiLeaks.
Sort of a WikiLeaks sort of Bravo-centric.
Reality winner.
What's that? Oh, that's the thing that's the hacker?
Yeah. But her name is Reality Winner.
What does that mean?
It's just a crazy name. But maybe she can help us be reality winners by letting us watch Southern Charm one day early.
So I know Reality Winner. So I know Reality Winner subscribes to Patreon. I don't know if they listen to the main episode, but if for some reason there is a crossover in Reality Winner, you're listening to this, please let us have Southern Charm early so we can make it a part of our timely episode. But if not, like you said, we're going to figure out how to get Southern Charm on the map in non-traditional ways.
Yeah. Maybe Snowden can help us.
Snowden, is he? I think one of the punishments of his is that he cannot access the internet anymore.
Is he in Russia still? Or no?
I know he was
extradited.
He was pulled out screaming.
Really?
Yeah, he was in the British embassy. Don't get me started.
They should make the movie Snowden 2.
I'm sorry.
Are you thinking of Julian Assange?
Snowden is in Russia. I'm sorry. Julian Assange was the one that was pulled out of the British embassy.
I was like, what happened?
Snowden.
Edward Snowden, are you okay?
I stopped thinking about Snowden and Julian Assange, but either of you, I know they're Bravo heads. If you have access to Bravo's internal network for screeners, please send it to us. And absolutely, we will not tell the government.
No way. Biden will never know.
I would never tell Biden. Could you imagine us ratting out Julian Assange to Biden?
He'd be like, Riley, come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay.
All right. Wait,
Well-
last thing. I don't want to drag this on, but did you see that Vegas is under cyber attack?
It is.
And I hope that they get their shit together before BravoCon.
Is it all of the digital display screens are playing like a V for Vendetta anonymous
Yeah.
mask?
Exactly.
Give us your money.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing?
What's that Guy Fawkes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's every single casino or just like MGM, and like there's certain ones that all of the machines have like error messages.
Whoa.
The gambling machines. They're checking in guests on clipboards. I've seen this on TikTok. People have to like cash out like manually with like receipts if their machine like is working. Apparently certain rooms that are operated like lights and shades and power
Oh my God.
digitally like can't,
Who's doing this?
I don't know, some evil dweller. And apparently they're entertaining paying a ransom to end this.
Oh, what's that called? It's called cyber ransoms or something. It's called ransomware.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when people say like I have taken over access to your computer and they have that Guy Fawkes mask and they go, I've taken over access, you pay me $1,000, you get access to everything again. I'm so tired of hackers.
Yeah. Can't they hack away our debts and our BravoCon credit card bill?
I will say, I retract what I said about hackers. If for some reason you are able to access our bank accounts and put back the $666 BravoCon ticket price, I don't mind living in a sort of dark world in Vegas where everything is analog.
It's like Blade Runner with the purple light.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just walking through, unable to play the Sex and the City slot machine.
Most of the aspects of BravoCon would still work in an analog environment.
It's true.
We're seeing
Perhaps
Bravo celebrities.
better.
Yeah, we'd be just drinking beers, which still exist in a practical world.
It'd be like the swinging 60s, like the Rat Pack days.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, they had no technology back then.
None.
Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. Who's that other one?
Isn't that all of them?
Do you think that for some reason, if Turtle Time had existed in the 1960s, do you think the Rat Pack would have listened to Turtle Time?
Yeah. We could have a special Don Rickles segment where he cracks jokes on the housewives.
That would be so fun. I'm sorry to belabor this or to continue to talk about this before our certified turtle piss break, but would we be talking about the future of housewives? Would we know the information about?
Would there be the Real Housewives of 1965? It'd be different lineup.
It'd be more of like a Mad Men-esque housewives environment.
Fun.
All right, well, let's ponder that while we go to the bathroom. Amy and I are going to take 2 separate turtle pisses, and then we're going to come back. You parse that while we're gone during that ad break, and then we're going to come back and talk for a little while about 4 of these shows.
Yes.
All right, we love you.
Bye. Riley.
Amy. Oh, my God. We've never done that before.
A little reverse.
After every certified turtle piss break, that's how we should come back.
Yeah.
Right? Or no,
I'm glad that we went pee.
why?
I needed to.
I didn't know you did. I was looking over at you in the piss meter. I really didn't think you were filled to the brim.
I wasn't freaking out, but I'm relieved now.
So when I started to talk about Frank Sinatra and hypothetical 1960s housewives, you were sort of like getting to the...
I was just like, you know what? I'm glad that we're wrapping out because it has been a full hour.
Right.
And that's usually the limit when we've been drinking our venti coffees.
And we both know our bodies now to an
We're
extraordinary...
so in tune.
We're so in tune that you and I, after 1 hour, we can basically sense that piss has to come very soon. And then we'll know in another hour that it could happen.
Yeah. During our Patreon the other day, I was like, all right, so that's the end. And you were like, let's do some final thoughts. And my eyes started twitching. I was like, I'm at the end of my rope.
Right. Exactly. I knew your piss meter was absolutely to the brim, and I took it to
The
the
limits.
limit, but I think it added a little bit of a fire to the end of our
Yeah.
final thoughts on Patreon, don't you think?
Yeah, it brought a little manic panic energy.
Yeah, manic panic. Wow. So
Okay.
I think what we're going to do, like we discussed, is let's pretend the snow is falling. We're in a we're in a wintertime environment. The snow is falling. It's a cool and crisp out, and we are talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Did you like this episode?
I did overall. I think a lot of the freshness is still working. That I think I'm loving seeing this cast again, and
Yeah.
I do think they're all fun and charismatic. This episode, though, overall felt like it spent way too much time getting to the Trixie Motel.
Yeah.
It was like 20 minutes of the episode. I was like, get there already. What the
Yeah.
hell is going on? They love showing Sprinter vans now.
I know.
And because it's like that's a part of the ethos of Salt Lake City. But I was like, I don't know if this Sprinter van,
I know. Mary was like, can we just like get there?
yeah, they were like, we're all traveled out. And as a viewer, I was just like, this, I don't think we need to see. It was the exact opposite of what we talked about of OC last week, where they
Right.
where Tamara goes, let's go to Mexico now.
Yeah.
And then they snapped and they
Blink.
were,
Yeah.
So this,
Especially because I imagine that the flight from Salt Lake to Palm Springs is like an hour.
right.
Right?
It was, yeah. And then the fact that, I enjoyed seeing Lisa's reaction to her ring getting flushed down the toilet, but that just added to the length
Do you
of
think
this
it got
trip.
flushed?
I think, she didn't want to say it, but the way
So she didn't start looking for her ring until after she flushed? Or do you think it just like rolled all the way down?
I think Lisa does multiple flushes no matter what she's doing in the toilet. That's something she's talked about on Watch What Happens Live.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when she pulled her pants up, her ring was starting to slip, she said, and then she thought she had it, and the toilet was probably actively flushing from all the times she
it's
flushes.
just
So,
splashing
so-
everywhere.
so it was just pure, probably chaos in that toilet. And I think to save face, I think she had everybody roll around on their hands and knees
Dig through
under
the tampon
dig through
trash
the tampon
can.
thing, go under each stall while people were in it to try to get the ring.
That's like the saddest feeling when you have hope that you can find something and it becomes clear that you're never going to find it.
Yeah, I think it was an Occam's razor. The easiest explanation is the right one. It
Yeah.
flushed down the toilet while she was hanging over it.
Terrible.
60,000.
Yikes.
Did it give you at all 25,000?
Can you believe 25,000?
It's sort of the way she kept saying 60,000 was like,
60 G's.
who said that?
She said that.
She did?
She said that to like the like airport employees. I was like, bitch, they do not make enough money to deal with your bullshit right now. Please don't tell them how expensive the ring was. It's irrelevant to
Yeah.
them helping you.
So to answer your question, I loved the Mormon religion stuff. I love that they're repairing relationships. This is exactly what I wanted. Meredith and Lisa
Yeah.
are getting back to it. Whitney and Heather are broaching peace. I love Mary in small doses, and she really brought it. But just unfortunately, because this is a lead up to a trip, they just took way too long to get there. And I also didn't. We'll talk about it, but I didn't really think the conflict of Angie K waiting there at the Trixie Motel really warranted being the entire focus of.
Right.
It's like the name of the episode.
It's not
is-
like she's like a true enemy
Right.
where you're like, no.
Yeah.
It's like the only clip they have is her making kind of a joke that Jen and Heather scissored before she punched her.
That's like the one
It's like,
notable
who
thing.
cares?
Yeah, that's the one notable thing she said.
Yeah.
And also, I just I can't drop the pretense or the knowledge of that this is a production, and everyone at this point would know that Angie is probably a friend of or a full-time cast member, and all friends of or full-time cast members go on trips. So it's like not mysterious or shocking at all that Angie would be invited to it. It's just so making that the whole construct of the conflict just is like it. It didn't mean anything to me. I'm just like there's no excuse for why they all go on a trip. It just
Right.
you all have to go on a trip together. So I
Right.
just wish they wouldn't have not made it about that Angie K thing.
Right. Are you going to listen to Meredith and Seth's podcast Hanging by a Thread that have 20 to 30-minute episodes?
Not only am I going to listen to it, but I'm going to actively wait and look at my podcast app for the new episode each week before it airs so that I can be the first person to listen to it.
Can we make our podcast 20 minutes?
Well, yes, of course. We just have to cut a little bit from the first part of our news update. But okay, first of all, I'm glad you brought that up first so we don't have to talk about it when it comes up. First of all, I think we should recreate the podcast cover photo that they do where is he hanging by a thread or is he sitting like he's a table or in a bench and Meredith is sitting on top of him? Or was he, I forget, was he?
They're in some weird positions.
Yeah, anyway, whatever it is, I think that you and I should every month.
Yeah.
Please tell me if you like this. We recreate the cover photos of other Housewives
That's
podcasts.
fun.
So we'll do Hanging on the Thread. We'll do the Namaste bitches.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do whatever two
Yeah,
T's in
he's
a
a
pod.
table.
That's what the heck?
Like
That's Bruno.
Succession.
Oh, right, exactly, like Succession. And in Bruno, you remember when Paula Abdul sits on that human furniture? So I looked this up because I was like, okay, first of all, I like Meredith. I don't really care for Seth. I can't think of a less enjoyable podcast than hearing them talk. I'm sorry to be mean.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, so they filmed this 6 months ago, or even more, 8 months ago. She talked about the podcast. I was like, okay, so this is an ongoing thing that they started in the middle of filming. They had their first episode come out today. Or yesterday to line up with this new season. So she was promoting a podcast that didn't exist up until the point which I don't think I've ever witnessed a business strategy like that where she's talking about
waited like so long.
So strategically she just waited.
Can you guess how long the first episode is?
16 minutes.
17.
17, my bad. Sorry. I mean, everyone has to have a podcast now. Who are we to judge? But I just think I felt like Meredith probably... I don't know about the Meredith and Seth dynamic if I've seen so much merit to them two talking. But I just thought it was notable that she didn't actually start the podcast until just now when she could promote it.
It's kind of smart.
Yeah, I mean, smart for her to know to just like wait for this episode
It's also
to premiere.
proof that they don't have any actual interest in having a podcast. Like if you wanted to, you would just start talking right away. It's very simple to get it live, especially if it's 17 minutes.
And then they showed a clip of them like having a podcast or whatever, and it was about how Seth had something in his nose.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we do that, but it seemed
we more talk about pee, not nose stuff. But
yes.
You know, to each their own. Okay, so I did want to touch on the Monica segment because I did think it was strong.
I thought it was so strong. I also thought it's an anomaly for two reasons. First of all, I think she almost got like over 10 minutes dedicated to just her and her home life, which was entertaining the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom was awesome and fun. Her daughter was cool. I love the glimpses we saw with their Nana.
Yeah.
And so she brought it, that scene. And then also her struggle with thinking that she's not up to par with the fashion and wealth of the other cast members.
Yeah.
For her to be honest and break down.
That's so real.
That is like... And
then on, not to cross cities, but OC, they're making fun of Jen, the new housewife, for having a fake Chanel bag, which I'm like, she probably was terrified too to show up not looking rich like everyone else.
I wanted to make that connection too. We saw the two paths that a newbie could take.
Yeah.
Monica chose...
Go into debt.
Monica chose that, but also to talk about it and reflect on the fact that she's not as wealthy, which if Bethany Frankel can be an example to anyone, there is nothing wrong with just saying your wealth is not up to par with the other cast members. There's a lot of merit to seeing that struggle and the growth, and we might enjoy seeing Monica start to accrue wealth, throughout so anyway, I thought that was very good. And then Jen is the other side, which is what I assume most first full-time cast members do, which she's wearing. It was like Balenciaga and Fendu, and what was it like?
She had like a shitty fake Chanel bag.
Poochie.
They showed her Balenciaga sweater that looked questionable. So that was very interesting. I love an Etsy queen.
Yes. But what was her? It's like baby blankets, right?
Yeah,
Swathing.
it's like swaddles and crib sheets and stuff.
That was relatable.
Yeah.
And did you think her mom was kind of fun?
Yeah, she was sweet. I was almost getting New Jersey vibes from them.
I was getting Jennifer Aiden, but a good Jennifer Aiden from Monica. Like a good...
But she said she was from Boston, so she's at least East Coast.
Yeah.
Which I liked the vibe and the family energy and her humble beginnings. And she just has a great storyline with her divorce. And then should we go ahead to say she had an affair with her brother-in-law, which I don't even know if that's the right thing to call them, her husband's sister's husband.
Yes. So not only did Monica just shine like a shining star in last week's episode, just from her personality and what she knows about Jin Shaw and everything else, then she gives us a killer home life scene, and we can see now her mom has merit. Her daughter was fun.
Yeah.
I love the Nana stuff. Then she reveals to Heather when she was a part of the Mormon church.
Yep.
She's a lapsed Mormon,
Excommunicated.
And
Heather's eyes like lit up when she heard that. She was like, hell yeah, let's go in.
she did. And then, no, like the most shocking revelation that you couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, they bleeped that in the trailer.
Yeah, because it was wild to see that firsthand,
Yeah.
and witness that. And Heather is stunned, almost falls down.
She's down.
Yeah, it was 18 months, right?
Yeah.
Cheating with her brother-in-law. She got conflicted about it, went to the bishop and said what happened, like confessed. The bishop said, well, you're out of here. And then the brother-in-law,
Is
whatever,
fine.
is completely allowed. And Heather
Yeah.
goes, that's what they do. The men get to stay or whatever.
And she said that she immediately ripped off her Mormon undergarments and went to Victoria's Secret and bought like 30 thongs.
Hell yeah. So then Monica proved that she also has a past that we're going to, see, this season 2, which is just as entertaining as she is as a person, which is rare for her to have like all of this merit. I mean, I hope we're not like overrating her, but she seems
Strong start.
And I also thought Heather could have like run that and beat that to the gods with that information. Like I expected almost, even though I know Heather, like a confessional that was like casting aspersions or
Like Tamra with Jen.
totally like I've got dog with a bone. I've got this now. Make some remark about how awful that is. But
all
Heather,
she cares about is bringing down the Mormon church.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect storyline. She was like, of course they took the man's side. That's always what they do.
it endeared her to Heather.
Totally.
Heather was endeared to
And I
Monica
was kind of
by that.
excited about that because I feel like Heather and Whitney, for whatever reason, can't quite connect on the ex-Mormon of it all.
No.
Like they have different takes on
Whitney
it.
used it as a storyline more. Like she did a whole thing where she like sent the letter to the Mormon church
To strike her name from the list or whatever.
Yeah, but Heather is much more of a bashed renouncer of the Mormon religion, and we saw that in this episode too.
Yeah. So I was excited for her to have an ally
Yes.
in that space because I feel like together they'll be really fun.
Monica seems like a great ally to have.
She like doesn't give a fuck.
And that scene was fun. Just Heather and Monica bringing
Totally.
it.
Usually shopping is so boring.
And then, well, let's just say it now, on the polar opposite is Whitney with Angie K at a dinner scene that lasted way too long. It was boring
Yeah.
as hell. The Angie's,
Except that they revealed that Angie's teenage daughter still sleeps in their bed.
Oh yeah. Okay. And I
That's
really
something to note.
that's of note, and I really liked their dog. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
a cool.
What was the name? It had pink ears. I forget what the dog's name is.
But just to talk shit about Angie for no reason,
Yeah.
they both had their long solo scenes for us to get to know them. Angie's landed like a thud and wasn't very fun or entertaining,
No.
I thought. Monica, like a shooting star. And then they both have duo scenes with other cast members. And Whitney's and hers was boring as hell.
Yeah.
And
Did we already know that Heather and Angie went to high school together, like from previous seasons, or is this the first time we're
I
hearing?
think it's a huge reveal.
I loved all those photos.
Did you think? Now I'm definitely being a stinker here. When Heather said Angie K got best sense of humor in high school, is besides Barbie scissor kicks, have you seen this secret sense of humor that Angie K has demonstrated?
No.
Just something interesting. I was just surprised that she got best sense of humor award.
She's hiding behind those giant pink glasses.
Yeah. And I find that Heather has every right to think that what Angie K said about her and Jen scissoring each other sexually, and that's how she got her black eye that Jen punched her afterwards, is worth Heather carrying a grudge against Angie, I'll say.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't think so?
Sure.
I mean, in the world of Housewives.
No, for sure. Sure. It's just, it's not, they showed it more than once, and I was just like, it's not the juiciest thing, but all we need to know is that Heather doesn't fuck with Angie, and
I think it's not. I think it's not juicy because I know Angie was just throwing shit at the wall to see what stuck, and that was a fully just her trying to have a moment that was
outrageous.
unprovoked and be outrageous. But Heather's reaction to an outrageous moment that she said on camera
Sure.
is very. I mean, I guess defamatory to Jen Shaw.
Right.
Right? Like Jen Shaw was in a marriage that they
Right.
had sex on the side
Right.
and she got punched afterwards. So I think, and so far I haven't seen Angie's spark yet, so I'm fine with this feud.
Sure. Yeah. It gives us something to talk about.
Us?
The world, the viewers.
Okay.
And then Mary Cosby calls the Trixie Motel to ask if they have 2003 Dom Perignon and if they have room service. And I'm pretty sure that Trixie Motel themselves answered the phone.
I thought so too.
I was like, okay. I mean, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but Trixie was in full drag for their arrival, which I feel like the producers forced him to do because I watch a lot of videos of Trixie's podcast, and he doesn't do drag obviously for his podcast. He just I forget his real name. I think it's like Brian.
Okay.
He's hilarious. He has a podcast with Katya, another housewife drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
And they're so fucking funny. But I was like, damn, they made her do drag. But I mean, it's a good advertisement for the motel.
Well, I mean, I'll say it. It did feel like Trixie Motel paid a certain amount of money to really be featured this episode.
Yeah.
A little more than I needed.
Yeah.
It was like very in depth and
Which is interesting because so the motel used to be called Ruby Montana's Coral Sands Inn. I've stayed there like 5 times. I have not stayed at the Trixie version yet. I would, but it's expensive and sold out a lot.
okay.
It was always pink, but now it's like extra mega pink. The rooms used to be themed fun. Like there was like a Liberace room and like a Roy Rogers room and a Poodle room. And now they're more just decorated fun. But it's interesting because the makeover of it was on an HGTV
Yes.
show. And so it would have made sense more, I guess, if Warner Media Discovery was in the Bravo family,
Right.
but it's totally outside of it.
I feel like Trixie Motel is a separate enterprise apart from that, and it wasn't
Yeah.
really advertising the show. It was just advertising the location, and they must have paid Bravo to get that kind of treatment. It was like,
the Bethany Clause.
would that relate to someone who's advertising their? Yeah, I mean, the reason this episode started to seem like a slog, which did we already talk about? That it's like, yeah, they take way too long to talk about this, and like Whitney and Angie having this separate Trixie Motel experience before the other guests arrive. I was just like, come on,
Yeah.
like just chop this up a little bit.
Totally.
Like, I didn't
We had to spend a very long time looking for the toilet ring,
yeah.
and I don't know. It was that part was a strain.
Yeah. We already talked about Meredith and Lisa are sort of burying the hatchet, right?
Yeah.
They are moving forward, which I think is very good. Wait, what else happened this episode?
That's like it. It was literally them waiting to get it. Like ends on a cliffhanger of them realizing Angie's there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I will say I did like that through a natural, organic way. I liked that Monica's storyline. I'll say storyline, but that's sort of not the right way to say it. Her actual genuine feelings about not having enough like money to compete with these other cast members. I liked that it coincided with Lisa's real loss of a ring, which you couldn't fake, like her losing a toilet, and then you have to watch Monica's reaction to Lisa talking about losing $60,000, how she's going to instantly replace it, and they keep panning to Monica being like,
She's like, that's why I don't have rings that expensive or whatever.
Yes.
Also, Mary had to make a rude comment that the ring didn't appear to be worth $60,000, which I was like, I mean, I think a ring is just worth what it's worth based on like the value of diamonds.
I was going to ask you, has anyone hated being a housewife more than Mary?
Like she looks like she's a hostage.
She hates every aspect of it. I mean, I'm sure she likes getting paid for it, and I'm sure she likes the notoriety. Like her church congregants probably absolutely love it when she's on.
Yeah.
But like she hates every minute.
Yeah.
And always has like the most like the
Like, why
take,
is she
like a
there?
negative take on everything they're doing. She only supposedly likes Meredith, and
Right.
that is a tenuous relationship.
It's very weird. Also, did you like how at the airport, Monica was saying how she's terrified of flying, and they were like, "Oh my God, did you bring Zannies?" And she goes, "Zannies in the Louis." And I was like, "Do you think she just wanted to be like, look at my Louis?" I have a Louis.
No,
I have Xannies in my Louis.
Yes, exactly. It felt cool to be a part of that narrative that we just
Wink,
saw.
wink.
Yeah, she purposefully highlighted her Louis, which we know she just bought to keep up with them. I thought that was like great.
Yeah. She should have bought something resale.
Yeah.
Save some cash.
Or if she wants a fake Louis bag, like you and I could easily craft one up.
Snowden.
What would
He can, on the underground circuit, get us some goods.
Snowden? I know we already asked you a little bit about Bravo screeners, but if you have access to a network of what is that called?
Chud merchandise.
Chud merchandise would actually be kind of a fun little side project for us. It's knockoff garbage.
Yeah.
That sort of looks very authentic.
It would be like Chanel C's, but it stands for Chud.
I like that a lot. What are we calling it? Chud clothing? Clothing for chuds?
She by Chud Ray.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think if we captured everything. Seth and Meredith's podcast. I already said negatively, I just didn't think this Angie K conflict landed very well at all. Just because I know the realities of production that they all have to assume Angie K is probably coming to this.
Well, they all just kept being like, "Where's Whitney? Where's Whitney? She's on a different plane. What plane? What time is she landing?" And Meredith kept being like, "I don't know."
It's what I dislike so much about RHONY. It's like stop focusing on the one person that's not there and just try to have fun on your own without only talking about who's missing. It's annoying.
Yeah.
But
well, I am excited. Next week looks lit. Heather drinks way too much espresso martini and pukes in the van.
That was awesome. It shows the montage of her
It's an absolute mess.
drinking espresso martinis and Meredith's "You Can Leave."
Yeah.
People compared it to Gandalf's "You Shall Not Pass." You saw Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
People, you haven't?
I think I did in 2000.
Oh, so you haven't seen it since you were... Anyway, a lot of people have put Ian McKellen doing his "You Shall Not Pass" to the Balrog, and
A lot of people have?
a lot of people over 6 Lord of the Rings Bravo crossover accounts. And I also wanted to say, guess who Lisa Barlow got compared to when she lost her precious ring in the toilet?
Wow. This was a
Gollum.
great week for you.
Gollum.
Precious.
Who else pines for a precious ring for that long in the Lord of the Rings franchise?
Did it make all the other housewives like hobbits who are also looking for the ring?
Exactly right. Meredith was dressed up as Gandalf because she says that you can leave, and then all the rest were hobbits. Whitney. Who else is on the cast? Lisa was Gollum. Monica was Aragorn.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't want to get too much into the sort of the Lord of the Rings Bravo crossover stuff, but it was a great, like you said, a great week for those dual fan bases.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked like next week is going to be very lit, so I'm stoked. They'll be
And-
at the motel. We're just going to be fully in Palm Springs.
Yes.
Off with a bang.
And I give it a pass. You need filler episodes. I understand. The Lisa Barlow ring stuff was like sort of entertaining. The Mary Cosby thing was fun. I love that they're thawing these relationships. It was like a bridge episode that I still enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
And just one piece of the conflict really missed for me. But overall, I'm still stoked.
Same.
Cool.
All right.
Do we want to go from the Salt Lake City area to across the country, sort of the eastern coast?
Yeah.
Atlanta, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Southeast.
Yeah. So.
Get my notebook.
Oh, I'll give you
I
a
have
second.
to switch notebooks.
So people have been so down on Real Housewives of Atlanta, just for a little context, and I don't know how many of our little turtle cuties are actively watching Atlanta, but in a different season where people had been avid watchers of Atlanta, this reunion would have broken the Bravo internet, I think, for a lot of the things that happened. Specifically, Drew Sidora, who I am such a staunch advocate of her music career, getting the opportunity to, bathed in blue light, in front of everyone, sing a breakup song directly to Ralph.
It was amazing.
It was so amazing. Whatever producer or whoever made this decision, it does seem like it's jarring that this happened, and I don't think they have done this very often. I can only think of Kim Zolciak that got to debut a single. Has anyone else at a reunion, like Sheena Shea,
I don't know.
It doesn't happen often where or Melissa would have never done on display at the
Right.
reunion. Like this was like this is Drew's season. Drew has a breakup song. What if she sung it directly to Ralph while he's there? Andy, for the first time ever, sits on the couch and has to watch Drew perform. And he goes, this is my first time on the couch.
Yeah. He was snuggled up next to Kenya. He was watching Drew. He just kept going, wow. Wow.
He leans over to Kenya. He goes, she's singing it directly to him. And then they keep panning to Ralph's reaction. And Ralph, I swear, I know that's just his normal disposition and reaction, but that in relation to Drew singing this sad breakup song to him was the perfect
It was
cut.
amazing.
Ralph is just like, he looks like he is so forlorn. And
He keeps like looking away, and she's very much just like clapping back at him, like, how could you throw us away or whatever.
yeah. How could you throw us away? And they go, Ralph takes this like pregnant pause and then looks to the side. And it was just perfect cuts. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it was,
I've never seen anything like that, especially just having usually when men come out, there's like more than one man. It's
Yes.
like 5 of them.
yes.
And he was just like by himself in a tux, just having to deal.
Yeah, having a deal. Do you have other highlights or do you want to go
Sure.
through it? I mean, I don't think there was so much minute drama they got to that I don't think it's like all has merit, but
Yeah. Well, okay. So it started out where it finished last week with Courtney and Drew going at it.
Yes.
The bullshit about the kid where Andy held Courtney responsible for what she said.
we hear our first pure fuck from the uncensored
Oh, yeah.
version.
Yeah.
When Drew says, keep my son's name out of your fucking mouth,
Yep.
which hit like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. This is where Drew admits that she said Ty would have been her girl crush.
Yes. Yeah, the Thai stuff I forgot was very interesting because Candy, in a objective way, says that this happened, that another cast member on set brought Ty to set because of Drew's crush
totally.
on them. And then they hung out the entire run of production, the 10 days.
Exactly. And then at the break, Courtney and Ralph are like, it was like extremely sleazy vibes, in my opinion. Where
It was giving me Fast and Furious Cousins.
totally. She comes in and she's like, oh my God. She was like, I know that she's your wife and you love her, but like, basically just saying Drew is terrible.
Yeah.
And they're bonding and it's just gross and sleazy. And then Drew's sister like lurks in the hallway, in the doorway. And then Courtney tries to close the door and she goes, don't you close that door on me. And they
Allison-
are about to fight.
Allison was so pissed.
Yeah.
She was like,
She hates them.
She was like, oh, you're calling me a bitch, so you say the word bitch now? And Courtney goes, yeah, I say the word bitch now. And then the hair and makeup people had to like shut the door on Allison. Allison was about to take a bullet for Drew.
Totally.
Yeah.
She
that
did
was-
not like that.
That was wild. I mean, I will say, like, I disliked Courtney the entire time. I didn't think she brought anything. I feel like she's very inauthentic, not very fun, didn't bring a lot, strived for moments. But Bravo has to consider having Courtney back on because she is the link between Drew and Ralph. So
Yeah.
now you can show Ralph with Courtney interacting with him and get both sides of this divorce drama that there's going to be. And Courtney is now, in a way, I think, taking on the mantle of a full-blown villain. I mean, there's no way that she thought this was
Yeah.
going to be painted in sympathetic light. She knows she's against Candy, Kenya for the most part. Like, so I feel like Bravo has to consider it, even though Courtney hasn't shown a lot of merit.
I'm only interested if she starts dating Ralph as a cousin. Then
that
I'm
would-
in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know, I'm not saying I advocate for it, and I'm not saying that Courtney would be good, but I'm saying she did justify enough through this reunion and her place in the drama between Ralph
She's
and Drew.
shameless.
She's shameless.
Yeah.
And I think fully comfortable with being portrayed as a villain.
Yeah.
So, and we need villains.
Meanwhile, Moneta is barely a friend of.
Oh, it was very sad. When
She didn't
Andy,
need to come out. She didn't need to get all dressed up.
Andy looks over to Moneta and he goes, hey, Moneta, I just wanted to say congratulations on having that orphanage. That is so great. All right, Courtney and Moneta, you can leave.
Bye.
Moneta said like maybe one word.
So unnecessary. Why do they make her do all that work?
I think it's probably better for Minetta that she did get to appear at the reunion, but it was one of the most lackluster reunion performances.
For sure. We get a quick reminder that Kenya's movie Trois was the first black threesome ever committed to film that we know of.
Yep.
So we should watch that.
Yeah.
We've celebrated 10 years of bedroom candy.
That was great. And they had this Pornhub, like it was called Peach Hub. And it was all the sexual, like a sexual montage of what we have been through as Atlanta viewers.
Yeah, they honor Kenya for eating booty for over 20 years.
20 years of eating booty. And we learn that Candy, they discuss what an orgy would consist of. And Andy Cohen says definitively 4 or more.
Right.
And Candy says, I've been with 4.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's not surprising, but sometimes I do because Candy's so, she keeps to herself. She's kind of just like a level-headed person.
Yes.
And it's always funny to remember that she's a real freak.
I know. We never think about that. I kind of forgot. Like, I sort of forget that that's a part of Candy's ethos, even though she talks about it all the time.
Yeah. It's just like, it's a secret, not secret because she talks about it, but it's truly left in the bedroom.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what it is. You don't see glimpses of Candy's sexuality actually, like, she's not actively horny in the real world or in any context where we see her. I mean, her and Todd, I don't even think have ever kissed. I mean,
totally.
They've kissed,
like,
but
you don't get super horny vibes between them, but from what she's said, it sounds like they really keep it lit.
It's like cameras get out of here. Me and Todd are going down to.
You know who could take a page out of Candy's book is Brynn on RHONY. She's all talk.
I fully agree. I know that if Brynn, for some reason, if for some godforsaken reason they get a season 2 of RHONY, Brynn will no longer, she won't flirt with one person ever again.
You think she learned?
For sure.
Okay.
There will be a complete overcorrection. I want to highlight one thing about the Drew and Ty dynamic.
Yeah.
So I don't know why this isn't being discussed more. Like, I guess because Atlanta was just seen as a flop, so it doesn't matter to people. But Sheree received a big bundle package of incriminating text messages that Drew admits are real before she even sees them.
Right.
Sheree got a drop off. She brings out the text. They are between Drew and Ty. And while Andy's reading them, saying if these are real, they're very incriminating.
Yeah.
Drew is saying, I know those texts, and they're not very incriminating. Like, she didn't even give a benefit of doubt that these were real. She's just fully authenticates them. Then when Candy and Kenya are reading them, Kenya's going, I don't see anything incriminating. And Candy's going, wait, you would talk to someone like this? Like, it sounds like this Ty and Drew thing really did happen.
Right.
Like,
Andy
I don't know
didn't go there quite.
Right. And it's like, why don't people care that Drew has been called a liar? And I will admit that Drew lies a lot to save face. It's interesting that, like, this scandal is most likely real, a cheating scandal, but that wasn't a part of the reunion.
Right. Andy said something like, I know I wouldn't want my personal text read. So I was like, was he like doing her a solid by not pressing further?
I think he felt bad that real life text messages were just seen by everyone without Drew.
Doesn't Ralph get his hands on him at one point? Sheree goes like, they're behind you on the table behind the couch.
A very funny little moment where Ralph goes, what text messages? Can I see them, please? And Sheree goes, they're right behind you, Ralph. And he looks at them and he just like studies them and doesn't say anything about them. But it's so clear that he probably is one of the only people who has access to these text messages.
Right.
They keep all claiming, Kenya and everyone claim that either Courtney or Ralph, dropped this incriminating text package to Sheree. It's funny, so funny that Sheree got the recipient of like
it was like a deep throat.
Totally. Sheree she got all these props. She then got
the bone collector.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
No, I love stupid shit like that.
yeah, me too. That was fun.
Okay, and then this is just a quick funny thing, but because I feel like Marlo and Kenya really play for Andy's attention.
Yes.
Marlo said that the best sex she's ever had in her life was with a Gemini. And she goes, Andy's a Gemini. And he fires right back and goes, Marlo, I thought we weren't going to tell anyone about that. And I was like, that's fun.
That was fun.
Andy was kind of having a really good time at this reunion, I think.
He was. And I think we talked about it last week, where I'm wondering, is it the love of these cast members, which I also love and I find them so entertaining, or does he also think he has to spice up and add a little bit of fun to a otherwise sort of sleepy season?
Yeah.
But either way, he's giving fun, and these reunions are fun.
Totally.
I want to say one Sonia thing, because I don't think we'll talk about her very much.
Yeah.
So I just want to give Sonia, when you listen, Amy and I have said I love Sonia.
Yeah.
I forget. I don't want to speak for you, but I love Sonia. She got, I think, the worst 2 questions I've ever heard read to a housewife that are completely on the wrong side of history that I'm shocked Andy chose. The first one was, I want to read it because it's so awful and biased. Because Sonia, can you see how poorly you treat your family members all the time and that you don't own them? I was like,
well, that was from a reader or a viewer, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, but the one that they chose, I was so on the side.
It was savage.
I was so on the side that Sonia was being taken advantage of by all of her family members, and she is the cash cow that they all live off.
Yeah.
And they treat her like shit.
Yeah.
And she has to get them out of their house because
Do you think her sister submitted that question?
I absolutely do. I was like, why was that the narrative for Sonia this season, that she's paying for all of them?
Yeah.
And her sister's husband quit after 2 days of working for her. She was trying to make him earn his keep there and provide him with a job and give him money, and he just quit because he couldn't handle Sonia's Mommy Nation schedule.
Right.
I couldn't believe that of all questions, Sonia, who's such a good spirit and so nice, she gets this slanderous question.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah. And then it was also, how can you drag Kenya after she did so much for your charity event? They highlighted one moment where
it was barely a drag. What was it about? It was about the DMs.
It was like, Kenya, you reacted so harshly to when Martell was in your DMs, but then you had no reaction to when Rio had commented on something on Marlo. And it was like, fair point. It's hypocritical.
Yeah, that was just straightforward.
And
Who
then
cares?
Kenya, unfortunately, Kenya did some, Kenya didn't look great this reunion.
Yeah.
She said, well, I saw that you always, claim that I'm a hypocrite, but you never talk bad about Marlo's behavior. And then Sonia goes, yes, I do. I told Marlo that she shouldn't have sent that video to Tanya, and that she should have never done that. And Kenya goes, oh, well, I don't remember that. It's like, oh, okay. So the piece of evidence that fully, would put Sonia back on your side.
Well, also with, they were talking about Sonia's miscarriage, and it was so sad, and she was talking about the details of it and how harrowing it was and scary, and she was alone, and she said for the most part every single housewife either sent her flowers or FaceTimed her or were super supportive and helpful and nice, and that Kenya didn't say shit, and she was like, I did try to reach out, and I'm like, don't you think if your friend went through something like that and they didn't respond to you, that you would try again?
Yeah. Missed call. Okay, well, I called her, and it sounded, Sonia, Kenya goes, I did call you, Sonia, very patronizingly.
Yeah.
And Sonia goes, I would not lie about that. And it's so true. I know Sonia's personality. She's not lying. She legitimately felt offended, and I think Kenya is not a good friend to Sonia behind the scenes.
So, yeah, that was sad. But she's pregnant again, wishing her all the best, due on Christmas Day. And then Kenya revealed that instead of using her embryos, she's going to adopt. Which, do you think she really will?
I don't know. I don't know. This storyline of Kenya's,
it felt a little really?
Andy was like, Sonia's not the only one going through fertility questions or whatever. Kenya also is. And it was like, yeah, she just talked about wanting to have another kid.
Right.
Very, very sparsely throughout the season.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. She said she wanted to adopt maybe a toddler or a child
she
slightly
said after
older.
They've walked and talked.
Yeah.
Don't
have to deal with all that shit.
Yeah. That'd be cool if you get your choice.
Why not just adopt a teen? Go all the way to 18.
I think you want to have some of that embedded love through the early years before you get to their rambunctious.
I say do it all the way to the point where they're almost 18 and then you're done.
So you just get a little
maybe 1 month.
You get 1 month of them in there they want to fly the coupe.
You could teach them to drive, and then they drive away.
That there is merit to what you said. Let me think about it for a little bit, and I'll come back to you. But yeah, something like that does seem good. You get to be a part of one very significant milestone.
High school graduation.
Hey, that would be a good concept for a movie. A high schooler doesn't have parents or something, or I don't know, maybe the other way
the
around.
Blind Side vibes.
Huh?
Like the Blind Side vibes.
Yeah, and either one of the parties fakes or pays for someone to celebrate them at the high school graduation. Maybe it's the parents want to have a kid in high school to impress some other family members or family friends, or they lied and dug themselves into a hole that they had a kid this entire time.
Yeah.
So then they pay to be high school graduation, whatever.
It would be kind of like that Jennifer Lawrence movie where the parents pay her to date their son.
I think I'm totally just thinking of No Hard Feelings.
I like that movie. I thought
I
it was
never
fun.
saw it.
It's fun. It's fun.
How funny?
Rent it.
How funny?
It's funny.
Like 7 out of 10?
I was gonna say 7.
Whoa, that's high for comedy nowadays.
Yeah, 6.5, 7. Depends.
Six.
I don't want to oversell it to you because I don't
Right.
want your expectations to be high. Because I went in with 0 expectations, and so I was like,
Yeah.
sure.
I think I have already a little bit of expectations, but it doesn't matter. So 5 out of 10 probably means like 3 laugh out loud moments, 6.5, 4 laugh out loud and general mirth throughout the entire viewing experience, and then 9 and 10 is like Anchorman level. I don't know if you like Anchorman, but you know what I'm talking about, like laughing the whole way
Just
through.
dying. All right, I'll give it, just to set your expectations properly, I'll say a 6.5.
That's great. I like that.
For ordering takeout, doing a rental.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
have a great
maybe
time.
3 to 4 laugh out louds
Yeah.
and general mirth, like smile.
Total mirth.
A smile.
It's giving mirth.
It's giving mirth. That would be so funny if you watch the No Hard Feelings DVD comes out and it says Turtle Time Podcast. It's giving mirth. Would you like that?
Yeah. Do you like Jennifer Lawrence?
I do.
Well, then you're already halfway in the bag.
I have no problem with Jennifer Lawrence as far as I can think now in my mind on the spot.
Good.
Red Sparrow.
Intense. Using that prosciutto cutter on skin.
That movie was underrated.
You liked it?
I thought it was kind of fun to see how Russian spies work. Not
Yeah.
to talk about, I don't want to get into
Wigs.
my Russia rant again. Yeah, wigs, that was kind of fun. What was that movie where she was cold as hell? A Winter's Bone.
That was like her breakout.
Did you like that movie?
At the time.
Yeah, I never really saw it again.
Yeah.
Passengers, though.
Never saw it.
Oh, not
Chris
good.
Pratt?
And the mirth scale, 1.
Okay.
I laughed out loud once.
Mother, exclamation point.
Good.
Good.
I like that
Yeah,
film.
me
Darren
too.
Aronofsky, a rare win for Aronofsky.
And she dated him.
That was, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. But I like that movie. The end of Mother was so shocking to me that I almost,
Mother!
yeah, when she goes, Mother! Right?
The sink isn't braced yet.
Is that what it was?
Remember?
No.
People kept sitting on the goddamn sink.
Oh, because God, Javier Bardem is throwing the wildest party she's ever seen.
So annoying. I like movies where they capture that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like indescribable, dreamlike state.
Me too.
And that movie has that.
For sure. And then I mean, I have to spoil it if you guys haven't seen Mother, because I want to talk about it with Amy right now live while we're talking about it. We'll never talk about Mother again. I thought when she goes to sleep and that I guess she's going to be repopulated or whatever, like the day starts over again after the full crux of the apocalypse happens within the house. I was like, okay, so Jennifer Lawrence gets another start. How are they going to do this? She starts again. And then the fact that it was another person that she dies in that timeline, and then it's a new person that's going to have to go through this entire arc. I was like, whoa, that just was so shocking to me that it's like, that it's a relationship. A woman has to endure all this, or a partner in a relationship has to endure all this horror, and then they just get completely replaced with someone new and they start fresh. I was like,
totally.
God damn.
Remember, I think it came out a similar time as Phantom Thread, and I was like, the message is don't date artists.
Exactly. And it was both. It was exactly Paul Thomas Anderson and Darren Aronofsky reflecting on their relationships with their significant others and creating a veneer of an artsy movie that's really just about that.
Yeah. Great.
Wow. All right. Well, and then back to Atlanta. Do you want to just talk about Ralph? Because it's...
Oh my gosh.
Or
Yeah.
Was there anything... You tell me. I don't want to rush our Atlanta time.
One question. Do you think that Candy will EGOT?
So when I knew her aspiration was EGOT and I found out that she only had, which one did she have? She has one?
She has GT, I think.
No, I don't think so. Oh, maybe you're right. Sorry.
Or she just nominated for T.
I think she
nominated
has,
for
I think
T.
she has G.
She just has G. Nominated for T.
And so I was saying EGOT nom needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's not fair that EGOT is pure winners. If you get nominated for all 4, there has to be a subcategory of EGOT. So she's definitely going to win that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that she was so close to getting a Tony and an Emmy.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, she is really close. Like one more production or a couple more productions, The Pass, whatever. Like she's closer than I thought when she made that aspiration. And I trust Candy. She manifests things. And
totally.
She's so strategic and good at it. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, she never stops working. I wish she would take a break. I don't really need to talk about the Candy and Marlo back and forth. It's too depressing.
And they just say we'll be cordial, but neither of them want their casting to be dependent on if they can't work together again. So both of them just say, we'll just work on this next season if we get asked back.
But my favorite part about it was that Candy implied that Marlo was jealous of Candy, and Andy goes, "Are you jealous of Candy?" And Marlo goes, "I like a soft life. She works too much for me." And I was like, "I like the soft life."
Soft life did sound pretty idyllic.
I like soft life.
And Candy likes a hard, rough life.
Too much work. It's draining the life out of her.
Soft life. I like that.
Chill.
That's amazing. Yeah, Marlo was very subdued, and like I said last week, she does not want to embrace villainy, and she also doesn't want to go toe-to-toe or head-to-head with anyone. So not a good Marlo performance.
Yeah,
in my
I agree.
opinion.
Also, Kenya, lending to my idea I said earlier, wanting Andy's love. She goes, "Andy, what do you do after a reunion?" And he goes, "I run to a fucking tequila."
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fun.
And then they all laugh. I like that too. I like a little insight into that. Andy right now, as we speak, is doing the RHONY reunion.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then just a week ago, he did the OC reunion. So he's been running to tequila.
Well, he said, I watched one of his Instagram stories where he's working out with Stanny. And he said that Stanny's goal of the month is to finish the book he's reading by October 1st. And Andy's goal is to majorly pull back on alcohol until BravoCon.
Whoa. He did that in Daddy Diaries, and he did it successfully for a while.
Which means he's going to fucking turn up at BravoCon.
Get drunk as hell. God, I hope we get that rare Andy interview that we want. Andy, does Vanderpump Rules mean Lisa rules, or does she rule over the cast?
And they follow her rules.
Andy goes.
He's like, that's your fucking question? Should we get some of those little tiny microphones like everyone uses on the internet, or are those tired? Let's get Bob Barker microphones.
Let's be unique and get those skinny. That totally brought that song. What song is that?
Unique by Beyonce.
Unique? Wow, you just sent that song right into my.
Or is it Alien Superstar? That's what it's called.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's fine. It's still you brought it to my mind. Yes, I want characteristic microphones. We have to, like I said, we have to get this all set up. We need like a 2-week prep time before. Like we should be. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna get those Bob Barkers. So I do want to delve into the Ralph.
Yes,
if
he's
you want to.
in. Drew immediately throws a peach at him. So she has multiple fruits. She has a whole fruit basket under her ass on the couch.
Yeah. And so she had a peach and she had a plum.
I love that she couldn't choose one.
Yeah.
Like she should have just decided which one was better.
Well, I think she knew Courtney gets a plum. and I think it's more slanderous to say Ralph wants a peach because in Atlanta, it's such a shady thing to say that the husband wants to be a housewife. I mean, it's on New Jersey too. Teresa's biggest, like, most evil thing she can say about Joe is that, like, he wants to be a housewife so bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, too bad he's beloved.
Ralph. Just kidding.
Yeah.
So, okay, I will say, so there is evidence that Drew brings up that Ralph was cheating the whole time. Andy very impactfully and doesn't let Ralph get off the hook about the cheating rumors. He goes, have you ever in your life cheated on Drew? And he goes, there would be evidence of it. And Andy goes, that's not the question. And he goes, there would be evidence. The answer is no. There would be absolute evidence.
Yeah.
And Andy's like, not taking that, for what it is.
They both say that they've been faithful.
Right.
Drew reveals that Ralph blocked Dr. Ken.
Could you
Can
imagine?
you imagine you go to couples therapy and your husband blocks the therapist's number?
Dr. Ken texts you and he goes, "How are we feeling today, Ralph?" And you go, "Block, Dr. Ken," right? That's awful.
Oh my God, that was insane.
Yeah. So Drew is, I mean, there is a lot to parse here with this Drew and Ralph. First of all, Ralph doesn't take this time to, for a while, he waits for Drew to talk for him. They like both give each other. Drew gives him the floor, which is right because Ralph just came out and Andy's asking him questions. But then
Yeah.
Ralph defers to Drew and they have this sort of stalemate where neither of them are talking. And it's like,
Yeah.
Ralph, this is your time to talk. Ralph has these very scripted lines that he brings out about how I am here to set the narrative right about what happened. Drew is a liar. All the things she's accusing me of are really what she was doing with this Ty relationship.
Right.
Drew starts to bring up Ralph's infidelity, and she says that she was covering for him for a lot of the season because there are things that she didn't want her kids to see about
Yeah.
Ralph. And I think it's almost we can certifiably say that Ralph has cheated on
Sure.
Drew with all of the smoke that we've
Yeah.
seen around this.
Drew brings out her phone that has a text on it that says, "Are you going to bring me back that dick?" And then there's like photos, and he goes, "That's a catfish."
That's a catfish, which I hadn't heard for a while. Catfish. He brought that out. He says that Drew had multiple affairs, and then then Drew comes back. This was my favorite moment of the reunion. I loved it so much. I don't know why. Drew goes, "Ralph, you just told me you've been getting blowjobs around the world." And Andy goes, "Blowjobs around the world?" And Ralph goes, "Look how silly that sounds. It sounds silly.
The gaslighter of the century.
It's silly." And Drew goes, "What's silly?" And he goes, "It's just something silly. That's not believable."
Like he's like, "That could never happen." And Andy's like, "Why not?" And then he's basically like, "I haven't traveled around the world, so that's not possible."
Right, it's just Ralph totally said this to Drew. He actually said this. And then he's called out on it. And he's just saying that this is a funny thing he said to be silly. And then he goes, "It's absolutely not believable." And Andy's shocked. He goes, "Wait, it's not believable to get
Why
blowjobs
not?
around the world?"
Andy's like, "In my experience, very much possible."
Right. I just thought it was everyone. If you didn't watch the reunion, you got to watch Ralph's reaction to the blowjobs around the world coming. It lasts way too long and it's too quiet while it's going on. And he
Yeah.
says silly like 10 times.
Yeah. Also, I don't know exactly what he was saying about, he was implying that Drew was like lying or exaggerating about the whole like chocolate city thing. I don't really get what he meant. And then I loved that Candy's so hooked up with all entertainment. Like no matter who it is, if someone produces a show, a movie, an album, she has their number.
Yep.
She calls the producer of Chocolate City and she's like, "Are you guys looking at hiring Ralph or whatever?" And they're like, "Yeah, we are." And she's like, "You are?"
Yeah. Right. And then he just said, it's like, that wasn't drama. Drew knew where I was. And she goes, "Yeah, I knew where you were. I talked about it. We all knew you were in Vegas."
She's like, "That wasn't the mystery."
She was just weirded out that he was going with the producer who had rubbed hot oil on him at the already know video
Yes.
shoot.
And he showed that he was going, first of all, Candy's advice was, if you are going to do a show like that, do it during BravoCon because it will sell out. And I was like, calling Erica Jane.
Yeah.
Smart.
We would go, right?
Yes. And then Ralph is like, "I was already there for the conference." And they showed the video where his badge says it was for IT infrastructure operations and cloud strategies.
I'm glad you wrote that down. Marlo said that Ralph was involved in technology, the technology sector, and this proves it. She
Sure.
had a badge.
I mean, it's literally, I guess, just truly IT. He just works in IT.
It was giving technology to me.
Same. I have no further questions. I don't even want to know about the cloud.
And then the crux of what, breaks this, it wasn't harmony, but what breaks Drew and Ralph further apart, which, I found impactful, is that Drew has a moment where she says, "You took my 30s from me. I thought you would come out here and you would admit to what you did, but instead you're lying in my face. You're accusing me of cheating on you. And so basically you're using this opportunity to further throw dirt on my name." And then Ralph has, which I think was fully scripted before, his go-to, what he was going to say no matter what. And it was, "Drew, you're acting right now." And then it is when Drew, I felt, was being actually emotional and revealing herself and how she felt. And then that was just a bridge too far to say that she's acting. She's like, "I'm out."
Yeah. Can you believe that so many of the other women are like, I think they still have a chance to get back together? I'm like, they are like below level. Like they are like in hell. They're just
There's not been a fun moment of them on the show.
No.
And it's like you can't fake that. You can't only have horrible times when they're filming and then have the best times of your life when you're not filming. They're a horrible
It's
relationship.
very bad, very bad.
Ralph treats Drew like absolute shit.
yeah. He was saying about the adoption thing. He goes like, the only reasons to adopt are abuse, abandonment, and death. I'm just like, what?
What the hell are
What
you
are you talking about? I'm like, he could have just like been normal and been like, I didn't want to encroach upon their biological father because he was like pursuing a relationship
Yeah.
with them and I felt uncomfortable, whatever. But he had this whole like staged 3-point presentation. I was like, you are annoying. I hate you.
It was very scripted. He had exactly what he wanted to say. He offered Drew nothing. You know,
Yeah. And then while Drew is gone, Andy's kind of giving him shit. And Andy goes, were you getting BJs around the world? And
Yeah.
he's like, no. And then he's like, you know, I support my wife, whatever. And Andy's like, it doesn't really read on camera, to be honest. And then Kenya like goes after him. She was like,
Yes.
you're exactly like my ex.
Yep.
Like, I'm sick of this shit.
Yep.
Then she comes back. Ralph says that he wants to see her happy. Blah, blah, blah. He sucks, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And then Drew gets ready to perform. She's clearly like very upset. I was surprised she could even actually do it because she was like fully about to cry.
Yes.
She has to like swallow and breathe and be like, okay, I'm going
Yes.
to do it. And Andy's on the couch. He's like giddy, like what the fuck is about to happen?
Yeah. It was like he was surprised too.
Yeah. And then she starts and you think she's just going to do this like ballad sort of like with her eyes closed or like somber. And then she like gets up and is basically like pointing at Ralph with like every lyric, blaming him. And it's like insane.
How could you throw it all away? I don't know the lyrics. Like for her.
Yeah.
And then Andy's like, and then at a point when Drew turns away from, she's first facing Andy and Kenya, and then at certain lyrics, she just starts to look directly at Ralph, and he goes,
He
she's
can
singing.
feel the heat on him and he like turns away.
Yeah. And Andy has an amazing reaction of a cringe moment where Andy's watching Drew.
He's like
perform.
grimacing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Anyway, it was great. Ralph's reactions are great. We already talked about it. It's just
whoever
it's-
came up with that is brilliant.
Yeah, it's very surreal. It's so funny that the lyrics pertain directly to Ralph and he's there witnessing it. The blue light was beautiful. Andy on the couch. Everyone has to watch it. If you haven't seen that and you didn't watch
Yeah.
Atlanta, just watch that one moment. I think it's
Yeah.
so fun.
I just want to say it's not comparable, but after you said something about Melissa Gorga, I'm getting this creeping image that she did perform something at a reunion.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. But I feel like I remember her performing like behind the chairs.
for some reason is like too shocking to imagine like Teresa and everyone just waiting patiently while
hating it.
Melissa
Yeah.
while Melissa performs.
But yeah, it was a fucking great reunion.
It was great. It was great. And it's just like New Jersey, because we just talked about New Jersey. The New Jersey season was lackluster, but then that 3-part reunion was up among the top tier New Jersey I've ever seen. Atlanta was not as great as that, but still an amazing reunion. And
Yes.
I feel like it was underrated. I wish people were celebrating Atlanta more.
Me
it's
too.
Not bad. People just have such high, like you had for No Hard Feelings or me. It's like you have too high of expectations. It can't help but fail.
Right. Well, I loved
Oh,
it.
and then they all just say that was the most awkward thing they've seen. And
Yeah.
Andy goes, I've seen a lot of awkward things, but that is up there. The most
Yeah.
awkward things he's ever seen on a reunion.
Insane. And then they drink green wine and
Yes.
cheers to health and happiness.
Cool. Okay. Well,
All right.
blazing through.
RHONY.
Oh, let's skip OC.
Oh my God, I forgot.
I mean, I didn't love OC as much as you, but let's just we'll
Highlights?
Yeah, major highlights
Okay.
of OC.
I was like, we're almost done.
yeah, it's like it's 2 hours and 8 minutes. You'd think we're almost done, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. First off, so they're at the dinner. Emily's pissed. I enjoyed Shannon opening up about John. I was like, this is all you had to ever do.
Yeah, I liked it okay, but it's like too little,
Too late.
too
It's too
late,
late,
and
but
you
I'm just
let
saying,
them run
like,
wild.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's all you had to do was
Right.
be like, yeah, he doesn't like talking about his emotions and it hurts my feelings. Like,
But then
that was it.
there's nothing huge that happens. It's like he leaves me. He's in a voider, and I'm a
Yeah. It's not that
console her or
interesting.
whatever. I just thought Shannon is making too much of this thing, and Heather, for some reason, is still taking the brunt.
Yeah.
And I love Heather's I love Heather in this episode.
Yeah.
She fully now says, I am not participating in any conflict related to me for this entire trip.
Yeah.
And
She basically just goes, okay, like, whatever.
So her and Emily just had this blowout fight. Heather leaves. Then gifts start to arrive. The worst timed gifts in
Yeah.
Housewives.
She's like, they're already monogrammed.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Right. And then Heather goes away. Only Tamra follows her to check in with Heather. I was thinking the entire time, hey, Heather, just so you know, Tamra hates you more than life itself and has been trying to destroy your reputation this entire season. So do not confide in Tamra at all. So not only does Heather have no friends on the cast, and no one likes her, and everyone is taking any slight they can that they feel from her and running with it. But then Tamra is the only confidant she has in this moment, and Tamra is the worst offender.
Totally.
It's like, this is everyone against Heather.
Yeah.
And I love that she was just like, I don't care anymore.
Right. Yeah. I know. It seems like next week she literally says, when there is conflict again, she goes, I'm done with the show.
I think I honestly, if I was in Heather's position and I was asked back on this show, I know Heather was asked back. Like
Yeah.
she wasn't pining for this. They wanted an OG back because they were in a casting shuffle. If I came back on a show and I was as successful as Heather and everyone was just using fake conflict against me that has absolutely no merit and I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And they all just hate me. They're treating me like shit. I think you should leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never advocate for leaving in the middle of a season, but if anyone should, it's Heather because she's just being barraged by fake conflict with no merit by
Yeah.
everyone. And they're not treating her well.
Yeah.
No one even wants to be friends with her.
Yeah. It's annoying.
Yeah.
And then, so Tamra is like, it comes out that she's trying to dig up dirt from Ryan's ex-lover. And she says that Ryan and that girl got in a fight after Nobu. So that woman sent Tamra texts proving that they were together.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is all like too many details for me to keep up with when I don't really care.
And also Tamra is being so judicious or whatever limited with the information that she gives. It sounds like she has every single piece of evidence of this entire cheating scandal in her bedroom and she could pull it out at any time, but she's like being so sparse with it. It's like when she wants to start conflict with Jen again, and you guys already buried the goddamn hatchet about this.
I'm just like, I don't understand what the point of this is. I'm like, so you're making her try to like eat shit on camera, but you're saying it's because you care about her and you don't want her to make the wrong choice. And I'm like, you don't care about her. You're like humiliating her day after day.
She's your puppet to abuse. You brought her on this show because you had so much dirt on her that you wanted to just use strategically to make you look better on this show. And Jen is just sitting there going, this is what Housewives is like?
Even by end, like it's like happens at the end of the episode, but basically everyone at the table is like, please stop. Like Shannon's like, don't say that. Heather looks like she's like about to cry. Like everyone's like, except Emily's kind of gleeful about it, which kind of was disappointing.
I'm so disappointed in Emily.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. Her also getting in on this Heather feud. It's ridiculous and awful. I didn't think Emily was bringing it. I'm mad at some of the choices she's making.
Totally. And then Vicki, I mean, we haven't said it yet, but Vicki kind of surprises the
An iconic
girls.
entrance. They open the door and Vicki screams and surprises them. And I think they were
They
legitimately
like dance in a
surprised.
circle for like 10 minutes.
It was fun, but I'll just say this about Tres Amigas. Okay, I love Vicki. I love Shannon. I think Tamra is the worst thing to ever happen to the OC franchise. No, I'm just kidding. But I just think she is the worst dynamic in the Tres Amigas dynamic. I just don't understand, though, why the Tres Amigas can't do anything other than scream, dance, and take shots. It's like no group could ever sustain that amount of heightened partying.
Yeah.
And it's like Tres Amigas has become a trope now, or a construct, and they know that this is the only dynamic, I guess, that people want from the Tres Amigas, that they can't even breathe for a second without screaming at the top of the lungs. So, you know what I mean? So Vicki is just perpetuating this dynamic. And I'm like, it's enough. Like, you guys can just like talk to each other or sit down. And anyway,
No, they were doing like a synchronized dance. It's like insane. I also am confused about the whole, it was boring, but the snuffleupagus conversation. What was she trying to say?
Well, so Heather, I think, wanted to give a little barb at Emily after Emily completely ran with some conflict that didn't even matter and like made Heather look like shit.
Yeah.
So she called her a snuffleupagus, which I think her outfit looked like that. Bravo apparently couldn't show because of copyright what a snuffleupagus looked like. I needed it.
PBS fair use.
I've never needed a visual reference more in my life because they talked about it so much. And Emily said, Emily goes, "Hey, Heather, you know when you called me a snuffleupagus, I could have taken that the wrong way." And Heather basically goes, "Go ahead. I don't care. Run with it."
She's like, "I get it, whatever."
It was awesome. I've never seen a housewife withdrawn where you know that they're just like over the fake conflict and they just say, "I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah.
She goes, "Go ahead. Take it how you want to take it."
Yeah.
I called you a snuffleupagus. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Heather was very powerful in that moment.
Yeah. And she agreed to wear the man body bathing suit so no one could give her shit for it.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't get what reference she was making.
I think, if I remember correctly, I was writing down notes. I think Emily was wearing a shiny orange. I think Heather made a dumb reference.
The problem was that it didn't quite work. So I think everyone was left confused and trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, just because it was like, if it was an accurate reference, then you could just be like, I see what you were talking about. But I was like, why did you pull that out of thin air?
Yeah, I think a little barb that Heather didn't mean to imply that Emily is big. She wanted to cast a little bit of shade on Emily for how Emily treated her. And then it could have been way more impactful if Emily wanted to run with it and say, "You just accused me of being Shrek." Like, remember when Tamara called Emily Shrek?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Awful. So
I did kind of enjoy that since Vicki's in the mix, that Emily and Gina had a true foe to worry about. Like,
I loved when Vicki arrives. It was giving Vicki's birthday when she goes, "Turn around, I'm coming out," or whatever, because no one except I think Heather claps when Vicki shows up to dinner. And then, just because we're talking about it, Vicki. So I love Vicki. We already praised her or whatever, but I do think she was grasping for impact on this. So she does the, I think, worst segue into talking about Jen and Ryan's relationship at the table when she's drunk as hell, and she just starts to talk about Jen, who she's barely ever met. She starts to talk about their relationship. Everyone's like,
so out of place.
She didn't even know his name.
Unearned.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know. That was kind of a flop in my mind.
Totally. I did like that. I know we're so sick of like Truth or Dare and stuff like that, but I love when Tamara's like, "Let's play Truth or Dare," and Vicki goes, like, off camera, you just hear her go, "It's a slippery slope."
Yeah, I like that too. And I liked actually that it was Taylor licking Emily's nipples and then it was over. I was like, okay, I can deal with 1 minute.
It didn't turn into a whole thing.
I can deal with 30 seconds of Truth or Dare.
Yeah. So I did like that we got a "That's My Opinion" clip, because this whole thing turned into Tamara saying she was just trying to warn Jen, which is exactly what she did to Vicki. And then Vicki was trying to be like, she basically, I don't know, Vicki was a little bit in the middle saying like, "But you have to learn for yourself." You know, like she wasn't, I don't know, she was kind of trying to side with Tamara, but not 100%, because I think she still resents Tamara for the way she did it.
Yes.
And so she was like, basically Tamara's doing a "That's My Opinion" 2.0.
Right. And
I liked the line. Okay, so Tamara's being annoying as fuck, trying to screw over Jen. They were going through the details of that girl Alex, who was communicating with Tamara.
Right.
And Heather was like, "I don't really know what Tamara's trying to do, but it doesn't look like friendship to me."
Yeah.
And I was like, that's right.
Which is absolutely true, completely. Heather is just like so withdrawn that she's just seeing everyone.
If anything, I don't see how Tamara's not embarrassed at this point,
well,
because everyone's just like, "What are you doing?"
I know, and then it's like, so like we're talking about now, Jen drama comes up again. Jen cries, because she can't believe this is being talked about, and then they do the thing where, like they did on RHONY with Jen and Jenna, they do the thing where we just want you to be outspoken or just tell us things once they're crying. It's like, this is what we want from you. So Gina and Emily and Heather, or not Heather, but whoever, starts to be like, Jen, push back on her. You got to fight or whatever. And it's like, that's not Jen's instincts. Like, she doesn't want to do that. She just can't believe that someone she considers a friend is dragging her through the muck like this.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be vocal and be outspoken and fight back. But then Jen does get a little bit of a spark.
Yeah. Yeah. She fires back that, I mean, it's just sad. She had to like, basically they made her like, again, eat shit saying like, admit that you know that he's a bad guy and like that he like fucked around on you. And she basically has to say, I know, and I have accepted it.
Yeah. And then Jen does, when she gets fired up, she's like, you need this to be relevant. Yeah. Which is so true. Yeah. It's exactly what we were saying. Like, Tamra is waiting in the wings to just keep perpetuating any conflict she can grab. Yeah. So Jen saying that is very true. Yeah. And then Jen says something like, you can continue to busy yourself in my pain. Yeah. Which is true. Yeah. That's what Tamra's doing.
Is this the point when Tamra pulls out the big guns and says that you ruined your whole family, which at that point everyone's like, oh my God, don't say that.
That is just so typical of Tamra. Take it too far.
So dark.
Be awful.
And she's just like, what? I'm honest. And it's like, you're a bitch.
Yeah. Be smart.
Stupid. I'm like, we don't know what's going on with Eddie over there.
We have no clue. Eddie is like a robot that she takes out of a box every day to perform on Housewives.
He was on Watch What Happens Live after.
I saw him. He was just like
sitting there.
Yeah.
By the way, the poll, the Watch What Happens Live poll, like 100% landslide on Jen's side, even though Tamra was the guest.
That's amazing. How did Tamra react?
She was like, I don't care.
Well, yeah, well, that makes sense. I mean,
they also said that the poll said that Tamra was the one that talked crap at BravoCon, which I'm still confused about what that was even about. So
yeah, they haven't brought that to the forefront enough for us to even care about that. So I guess my final thoughts are just that this could have been a great episode because I love when they're just partying and having fun. Yeah. But there was such striving for conflict, which has been like the worst part of this season. Tamra bringing up Jen shit again, the Heather shit. That's like, we didn't just get to watch them have fun. And then what could have been the saving grace with Tres Amigas, I felt like it was a little forced on Vicki's end, trying to grasp for moments, which Vicki doesn't really need that. She could have just like laid low and been fun, taken a couple shots. So I wish this episode would have been better, but like the hallmarks of this fake conflict dragged down the party vibe for me.
Totally. Yeah. I was enjoying it, and then the end was just dark. Yeah. And then I just wanted to say, I wrote down during the Tres Amigas Watch What Happens, it's revealed that Vicki's son Michael's ex-girlfriend is now dating Tamra's son Ryan.
Okay. Yep. So Michael had a girlfriend. Yeah. She left Michael, kicked him to the curb, or he kicked her to the curb. That new girlfriend finds love again, and it is with Tamra's son Ryan.
Downgrade.
You think?
Michael's king.
Yeah, Michael is so cool, except for that horrific moment when he was mean to his mom when she showed up to college. But I think he learned from that mistake, and he became a better son. I mean, he owes his entire life to Vicki.
Yeah, Kodo Insurance.
Literally, I mean, she birthed him, and then figuratively, he's going to take over
the empire.
The empire.
Yeah. Should we get Kodo Insurance?
I would love to just take out 2 plans on each other. Yeah. So that way, if one of us dies, Turtle Time can still continue.
The way Vicki has a policy on Dawn still.
I love that Vicki has that. Oh, I was going to say one last thing about Michael and Ryan, but I can't remember, and I don't think it warrants enough to even stall our RHONY talk. So I'll think about that, and I'll talk about it next week.
Okay. So yeah, let's get this over with.
Okay. So you tell me. I already shared with you, and everyone knows that I have a hatred of RHONY that is unmatched in the Bravo space. What about you?
Well, it's just boring, and we tried to say this. We posted a clip from our episode last week where the opening line is RHONY couldn't get any worse. Yeah. And the comments were quite divisive. Right. A lot of people agreeing, but a lot of people saying that the show is refreshing, new, they love it.
Don't you love when shows are refreshing? Like when you watch a show and it's on HBO and you're like, that's a refreshing show. Like, what does that indicate to you? Refreshing?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, again, like, if we had 0 expectations, it had no tie to
I would. Oh, sorry. go ahead.
Housewives.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean. You go ahead.
maybe.
Wait, no tie to Housewives, and this is the
Sorry,
first.
RHONY.
Wait, no. I'm thinking. So it says no tie. This no. I will. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was trying to think if this was just a show that was not even a part of the Bravo universe, and we were just watching it with no expectations. I'd be like, I would never watch the show. But anyway.
No, I just mean it's like impossible to untether it from the legacy of RHONY, and I wonder how I would feel if this was like Real Housewives of, I don't know, just a third party, but it would still be boring. And again, I truly think, I think I already said this last week, but I really think the problem is the casting shakeup. Like, I swear that there was major beef going on that was interesting that they had to delete.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, unfortunately, I do not think so. I think that is. I thought about this. I think that is sort of like the director's edit claim that people say, where like a bad movie comes out and people start to say that there's such a good
Snyder
edit
cut?
if the director. Yeah, the Snyder cut. Like, if you would have seen the original edit, it was so much better, but it got chopped to shit. I don't believe that with one extra cast member and whatever conflict they brought for the first half or the first month of shooting would have ever made this season better. How it just so happens that the one cast member that was fired was the secret link that was powering this entire thing.
I mean, I don't want to say that because I know that the reason that she left, there was like some dark topics explored. Like, there was like racial stuff and like stuff about like Israel, and like I know that there was like the rumor on the street was there was like an N-word situation, which is awful, obviously. But I'm like, who is this person? What the fuck was going on over there?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I guess I can't say that having someone like that on the show wouldn't have provided a lot more controversy, and we could have been like blown away by what was happening in early season, and that they are at a dearth now of talent because they don't know how to react to each other now that person's gone. But I still think
I need to clarify that I don't wish that they kept that in. I just think they were left with nothing.
No, I didn't take it as that. I'm trying to validate that theory. I don't believe it because I just think if your whole cast was hinging on one other person that was providing all of the conflict, and you guys were just, I just feel like they would have been able to, with their own merit at this point, created something else. But they are have a lack of any spark that I have found enjoyable.
Not enough humor.
They are not. This is not a funny cast. There is no Jessel. Maybe is the one who could maybe say she has a sense of humor where it's like you're sort of what's that called? Ironically funny. You're laughing at her ironically.
I feel like they really rely on Uba for laughs, but it's mostly just language barrier humor.
Yes, and fish out of water a little bit. She's just like, what's going on?
Yeah. And then she just wasn't on like half of the season so far because she had COVID. So
do we want to declare, just up front, I wrote it at the very start, do we want to declare our first Amy and Riley's certified stinker of the week?
Sure.
Do you want to? We don't have to.
Let's do it.
No, now is it coming sort of, it might seem.
Well, I think I know who we're going to say.
So do you want to?
Let's do it.
So we've been a little neglectful on this aspect of Turtle Time, but Amy and I, for 1 week, are officially declaring Amy and Riley's certified stinker
Is
Bryn
Whitfield.
So much like how Vicki got, what'd you get?
Wifetime Achievement.
A Wifetime Achievement. We have a stinker award.
Yeah.
This doesn't last long.
Yeah, she could redeem herself.
Anyone can redeem themselves. It only lasts for 1 week. But unfortunately, I'm sorry, Bryn, for 1 week, you have been officially declared Amy and Riley's certified stinker.
Yeah.
And why would you say Turtle Time is declaring that for 1 week?
She's trying too hard. It's fake.
She's trying too hard. She has a persona she is trying to perpetuate that seems extremely inauthentic to who she actually is. She runs with any whiff of conflict she has and treats it, talk about making a mountain out of a molehill. That could be her tagline.
Yeah.
I don't want to even think of a speculative tagline that has mountain and molehill in it, but it is a how-to or what not to do if you get hired as a housewife.
Yeah.
She's not showing any of her home life.
Yeah.
And I feel overall this cast is so isolated with each other. It is like they're in a COVID bubble together. We have not seen much of their outside life. I'm like stifled by their dynamic when they're together because you need some like outside influences or whatever. And so Brynn has absolutely none. It's like she is a AI housewife that they tune to a Sonia Morgan setting and send it to 12 and she's, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So,
well, also we can include in the stinker earning that I saw this online. I didn't look into it further, but so Brynn popped off on a Bravo Instagram account. She blocked them and said that what they were saying about her was disgusting because
disgusting.
Yeah.
Vile.
Offensive. They posted memes about, I don't know, her being a sugar baby or like a gold digger or whatever, because we don't know what her job is. She has not talked about it once, right?
She did
no mention?
No, absolutely no mention. And she goes, I showed off what I did. It's not my fault that the editors aren't including it. It's like, I feel like if it was notable or interesting, they would have included at least one scene so we know what she does.
And she was like, my resume is, rife with beautiful things. And I guess people looked into it, and she worked on PR for BP during the oil spill.
Yeah. So, we, in our capacity, awarding Amy and Riley a certified stinker, if you did...
That's on behalf of the fishes.
Yeah. If you did PR for the BP oil spill, which happened... when was that?
2010? 11?
Yeah. We have not forgotten at all about the BP oil spill. So if you did PR for BP, you get to be for 1 week. Sir, and this doesn't mean that Amy and I dislike you.
She's like Tilda Swinton in Michael Clayton. Oscar winner.
Tilda Swinton in Michael Clayton when she's defending that Miracle Grow. No. What is it? A Miracle Grow that causes cancer?
Something like that.
That was a good film.
Love it.
Do you remember when it's Tony Gilroy?
Ooh.
Do you remember him?
Go on.
He's kind of this guy. He wrote the Bourne Identity movies.
Okay.
And then when Gareth Edwards was making Rogue One and Kathleen Kennedy thought it was going to be utter shit, he got hired on to be a ghost director and ghost writer and finished Rogue One.
Okay.
And then he made Beautiful Andor, and now he's kind of in the Star Wars universe, and he's the only one doing a good job in writing good stuff in Star Wars.
Okay.
Anyway.
If Star Wars was more like Michael Clayton, I'd like it.
Then you would love Andor. It's like a spy show that has no connection to the Star Wars universe, just good actors with the guy from Y Tu Mama Tambien in it.
Okay.
Not Diego
Luna.
Diego Luna.
I saw him in Mexico once.
You did?
Yeah. He was sitting next to us at dinner.
Was he being fun?
He was having a good time. I think he was with his wife.
Well, I'm proud of him regardless of what he was doing next to you at dinner. And I think Andor is very good. Going back to Michael Clayton, I think you're exactly right that Brynn was... not only for her BP oil spill activity, but also because I think that she is mishandling her housewife, legacy with the decisions she's making. And
they're just truly, it's all of them doing it. She's just one example.
Aaron is the biggest.
And their feud together is absolutely exhausting. We could almost give them a hybrid stinker.
So I said this on TikTok, so sorry, but not everybody listens, watches that. But Brynn and Aaron are creating so much fake conflict, and it's just bouncing off each other because both of them will not let anything that they say to each other die, but also all of it is fake. So it's just this, you have to watch this shitty feud between two people that nothing was actually said or done, and neither of them actually care about it.
Because then Brynn is like, okay, so obviously I was joking about all the Abe stuff, but I will apologize for calling your birthday or your anniversary boring. And Aaron goes, I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's like, what are you confused about?
I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then Uba tried to get it going again by saying that she would be pissed off if someone did that to her husband. And I'm like, everything you've shown us so far shows that you're joke about everything. So I don't think you would be pissed.
No. Oh my God. And that dinner, if we're getting into it specifically, that Sunshine Shack dinner was 18 minutes long.
Oh my God. I loved that. Okay. I hate Sai being obsessed with food, but I love that she was like, I'm not waiting to order. And Aaron goes, wait, no, we're still talking.
Just
And
since-
everyone just continues to order. And she's like, no, we're not done
Since
here.
when do you delay food ordering because you're perpetuating some garbage conflict
She
at
clearly
the
was
table?
like, we're in the middle of a scene.
And Sai was like, I'm over it. Let's kill them.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to get the fish. Then like, Bryn's like, all right, well, I'll order then. I'm going to get the lobster.
Sai, there was a lot of merit in Sai just getting that. It was giving Heather Dubrow on OC where it's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
I am done. But I think the pacing of this show is also to blame. It's not only boring and fake conflict. These scenes last way too long. When we were watching season 3, episode 1 of Vanderpump Rules, that thing moved like a fucking freight train. 2-minute scenes. You're like partying. You're going crazy. RHONY has such little content, I think, that it has merit that they have to stretch these scenes out for so long. The pacing is like, whoa, are we watching a dinner in real time?
It like was.
Yeah.
Also, Bryn said that she was trying to do a Larry David bit. And I was like, what does that even mean?
Like, yeah, Larry David.
I was like, you have a misunderstanding of Larry David's ethos.
The feeling when you watch one episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a cool girl. I watch Curb.
Yeah.
And then they all try and make Jenna kill herself.
Yeah. So then the fake conflict ray gets turned away from Bryn. It was on Sai for a second, and then it gets turned to Jenna. It's like, hey, what about that coach thing we were talking about last night? Should we talk about that more? It's like, yeah, let's go for it. And then Jenna is like, I didn't actually mean that about coach. I'm sorry you guys are all offended. I don't know what to do for you. And then Bryn, mountain out of a molehill, certified stinker of the week, goes, we have such a problem with the fact that you would tell a stranger your real name, and I've cried and shaken on your shoulder, and you wouldn't tell me that your real name is Judith.
She's like, you give us gifts instead of connecting.
There
She's
is
like,
not there is not 1% of Bryn that actually feels this way. That is a huge problem. This is not how Bryn feels.
No. Yeah, and even Sai too is like, Jenna, you exclude yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she hasn't even had time to exclude herself. Like, none of you are even close, so it doesn't make sense. And then Jenna, starts getting like emotional. She admits that she's been fucked over so many times because guess what? She's famous and can't trust anyone.
Right.
And she was outed by the New York Post or whatever. So she's like valid in that area. She's very clearly about to cry. Then everyone starts to feel bad and they start to call her out and be like, oh no, are you okay?
Then they also do the thing, the thing, this is what we wanted from you. If you could just do this all the time,
like
we'd be in a great place.
manipulative.
Yeah, it's like, great. Yeah, if you could just break down and cry from our barrage of horrible fake insults at you and cry every time, it was awful.
Yeah. I also feel like, so then she goes on to talk about what she's mentioned before, but that her mom had like severe Asperger's and that she lived basically in a house that had to be completely silent at all times, which sounds extremely traumatic.
It was giving Fanny and Alexander. Have you ever seen that film?
I have it recorded on my DVR.
You got to watch it because they go from a fun, Christmas-filled, lighthearted, fun house, and then when the parents get divorced, the stepdad that they go to is this austere, religious man who allows no fun in the house and has bare walls.
It's like reverse Sound of Music.
Exactly right. Anyway, if our little turtle cuties have watched Fanny and Alexander, tell me if that was an okay pull or reference. But it was giving. What do I keep saying? I gotta stop saying it's giving.
That's probably my fault. I thought Sai had a good line though, because Jenna was like, I don't want to make this like a sob story, or whatever, and Sai goes, it's not a sob story, it's your story.
That was cool. I like that. I like that. That was kind of nice. But I also know, though, even though we have to give carte blanche credit to when people reveal traumatizing things about their past.
That seems to be the only thing that this show has, is that they keep crying about their childhood.
Yes, it's like, I give you clearance for that. I emotionally am invested in trauma, but can it be a little placed more strategically and be more organic instead of just earned, instead of just let's all do this now at this time? Like Uba even tried. She was like, we had no oil in my household to make oil lamps. People go, oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Good.
And then they gave Jessel the clown edit when they were like, what about your childhood? Yes. And it was like, they played the like idiot music.
Yeah, they did the long talk edit, which if you're a housewife, you never, ever want to get the long talk edit. Oh, you get the Dorit. Lisa Barlow, I feel like, got one too. recently.
Yeah. She was talking about how her parents were born in Kenya, which was interesting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
But then she added like all these crazy details, and then ultimately her story is that she was born and raised in London, which is not that interesting. And then she's talking about like her uncle and fashion and all this when
and
everyone
Miyamoto?
else.
Was it like Shigeru Miyamoto discovered her parents and started to take photographs of them or something?
Yeah.
And then
there's a lot of details.
And even Jenna is so sympathetic and nice, but even when Jenna casts aspersion in the confessionals, it was a really horrible moment in real time, because Jenna is pretty not quick to provide shade, so it must have been a really long awkward talk of just ranting.
And it sounds like on the next episode they're gonna scream at Jessel for having a shitty childhood story.
I think so too. Well, I mean, they've got to work with what they have, and they have to make that a big deal. Is there anything of note at the beach besides that? I think it was the first time they have tried to pretend to have fun with each other in any context, in any place.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the sunlight on your vagina, your yoni.
Yes.
There was coconuts covering breasts. There was photos, which was like reminiscent of Alex McCord getting her photo taken by Kelly Ben Simone.
Yep.
But I want to be honest and just say that it didn't actually look fun.
No. Yeah, the photos looked good.
No, I mean, they can take a great photo.
I did want to just say that Uba started talking about a WAP, aka a wet ass pussy.
Right.
And it was revealed that Aaron is the youngest person on the cast at 35 years old.
Yes.
I was shaken to my core.
Me too. I don't want to speculate on people's ages. I know people don't typically like that, but for some reason,
just vibe wise.
Well, I'm 37.
Yeah.
And so when I learn people's ages, I unfortunately selfishly think of myself.
Yeah.
And I was also surprised, I won't say why, that Aaron was 35 and the youngest. Younger than Uba.
Yeah.
Younger
and
than Bryn. I guess
Bryn de facto acts the youngest, and she's single and doesn't
I think
have kids.
Being youthful is a part of her identity.
Sure.
So it's like, it is shocking. But yeah, she doesn't know what a wet ass pussy was. And Jenna is in tune with culture and knew that.
She knows about it. Yeah. Also at breakfast again the next morning after the dinner, Jenna cries again.
Yes.
She cannot. It's just a true glimpse into probably how most normal people would react to being in a hellhole of a housewife's vacation.
It's how Jen's reacting in OC. There's a lot of parallels. It's like, I got on a show. This is what it's like. Everyone just
it's hell.
It's hell. Everyone, if you're the target, they just pounce on you for any little egregious or minor thing you do. It's awful.
Yeah.
And well, whatever. It's like, I can't say it enough that it's not earned, and it's not what they actually think. None of them actually care about anything. Erin especially. She does not care that Bryn flirted with Abe.
No. Yeah. And then Jenna, because she's upset, I forget why, but she talks about her mean grandma, and then it transitions to Sai talking about how her mom was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was really sad. It was a sad story, and everyone at the table was crying, but I was like, that's just the only thing that's been happening on this show so far is one by one them talking about their sad childhoods. And I'm like, I wish that it would be more of a surprise. Remember, it took so long for Ramona, to reveal her crazy childhood.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And you're like, whoa.
When you learn more about Ramona, it is so far in the future because she didn't rely. Well, I'm not saying rely, but she didn't need necessarily to open up. When it happened, she wanted to open up to whoever she was talking to.
And it was interesting because you're like, oh, that's why you're like that.
Yeah, totally. I just think that this is a strategic usage of what they think housewives formula is. And when the conflict is dying on the vine, they're like, let's do this, and so. Yeah.
And then basically the last conflict that happens again is Bryn and Aaron.
Yes.
She says that she went to freeze her eggs and that the doctor was like, embryos actually are better bang for your buck. And she said that she was flipping through her phone being like, whose sperm could I use to make an embryo?
She said, go through your phone and get some guy over here to start.
Which I'm like, I feel like there's something in the middle between the truth and her version of the story. But Aaron is like, that's a weird lie. That's such a weird lie to say.
Yeah. It was clearly another stand-up bit where it had truth, but also a little bit of embellishment, like Jenna said. But Aaron, of course, can't let anything go without having to have something to talk about. But then they resolve it within a minute. It goes 2 hours later. Bren goes and just goes, hey, I forgive you for what you said. And Aaron goes, I love you so much, Bren. I really love you. I'm like, what the hell is that? Wait, what? You guys really love each other? I thought you hated each other. I thought you don't know each other.
But yeah, Bryn's like, I'm not going to dinner, but I don't want you to think that it's because of you.
Right.
And then, I mean, I guess at least they didn't turn that into a thing, because that could have been really annoying.
I think Bren, more than Aaron, is realizing there's a limit to how small of a thing they can make into a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate. Bren's already done it so egregiously that I can't forgive her. I mean, she's our certified stinker.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, at least in this instance, she said, let's just let this die. Please, let's not talk about this anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so next week, Sai gets mad at Jessel for her childhood story, and Uba and Aaron are arguing, which maybe will be interesting. She snatches her sunglasses off of her face.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what provokes Uba to a state of near fighting, because it doesn't seem like it seems far from her character. I will give Uba credit that I liked her natural reaction to a bunch of hair flying in their food. Oh, yeah. And she started gagging.
Like Vicki style.
Yeah, it's like that. Those moments of like chaos and gross out stuff and like silly stuff that would have been on old RHONY. This RHONY has none of it because it has too much of a fashionable sheen or whatever, wealthy sheen that they want. So I liked this like gross food thing being included there. It just seemed like real.
Yeah. If anything, I feel like this show actually could benefit from more if what they want to go for is that they're shiny New Yorkers living these cosmopolitan lifestyles, then like lean into their careers more.
Right.
Like I want to see like Jenna's like real fashion shit. Like that eyelash photo shoot was boring. I was like, show me something cool. Like actually I would love to learn more about her Rockefeller Plaza deal, or like
you had that,
you know, her like inner workings in like the upper echelons of fashion and like real estate with Aaron. Like I'm like, show me like the down and dirty why they're wheelers and dealers then.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. And then I think, you know, like I said earlier, I need to see some other people in this universe, like friend ofs or actual genuine friends that can show your personality in a different context.
Right.
I mean, when Bryn had that with that Hugh Grant guy, I was like, okay, I don't need to see any more of this. But they feel very cloistered together. And they're not entertaining enough to just have the focus on them all the time. So whatever. I mean, so let's end this conversation quickly just because I have the seating chart. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, yeah, for the reunion.
Yeah, so it's Aaron and Jessel are to the left and right of Andy, first chairs. Okay. Bryn and Jenna were down one chair, so second chair. And then furthest away from Andy is Uba and Sai. So do you take a lot
Sai was pissed about that.
For sure. Do you take stock in the placement of people? Like, because people have a lot of theories.
I think it matters.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. I guess that I almost am surprised. Of course, Jenna had to be closer because she's like the star. But I feel like if that was not a factor, she'd be on the end. Yeah. Right? Right.
So like she almost got bumped up one. They knew she couldn't be first chair.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to give her dead last.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, you know.
I'm kind of surprised Sai's on the end, but.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to imagine, you know, what this reunion will be like given what we've seen from them. Right. 9 episodes of this, and I can't think of one legitimate thing they should really...
Do you think it's going to be 2 parts?
What
if it was 1 part?
Someone commented very sillily, very... They said that it's going to be the first 30-minute reunion in Bravo history.
They should just do it in the clubhouse like old times.
I think so, too. I mean, I don't want to be too disparaging, but I do not know what they are going to talk about at this reunion so far.
I know Andy's going to give it his all, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's going to be turned up to a degree to which we have not seen before. So, well, how do you feel overall about this episode of Turtle Time?
I think it was good. We had some laughs.
Dude, we did win. No, yeah, there was some, right? We laughed?
We laughed.
We did?
I think.
Yeah, we laughed. We declared a certified stinker.
Yeah.
Bren, obviously, as is the custom, when you're awarded a certified stinker, you have 2 days to respond and give your evidence for why you shouldn't be declared that. If you do not respond in 2 days, a week goes by where you were certified a stinker for that long, and then in 7 days it renews, you are off the hook, and a fresh person becomes stinker.
Yes. I abide by that.
And it's not an indictment of her personality, and I'm not saying, anything other than this is just
She's almost a victim to the series.
Yes, it's not your fault, Bren, and we welcome a response from you.
She might block us.
Bren, don't block us. This is constructive criticism. That's what Turtle Time is all about.
We know you're not a sugar baby. You work for the big oil.
We haven't even, right. We knew you were a big oil baby. We have never, ever said one thing about sugar baby.
No.
Right? We're not even.
No.
This is I like to say this a lot, but we're the only objective Bravo podcast.
It's true.
All right. Well, as we wind down, I just want to say, Amy, I don't know if you agree with this, but the little turtle cuties that listen, there is no one in my life that I love more besides the friends and family of people I know.
Yeah. I agree.
And if you want to support what Amy and I do as the Turtle Time Collective, I think the best way, if you ever love what you listen to today, I think joining our Patreon is a fun way to talk about Vanderpump Rules, but also get little glimpses behind the scenes of the Turtle Time universe. And I think we're recapping Vanderpump Rules at a very interesting time when a lot of new things have come to light, and it's a new lens on Vanderpump Rules.
It's true. I love all of the shit that's on Bravo right now, but nothing gets me more excited than talking about early seasons of Vanderpump.
Yeah, it's just each one hits like a ton of bricks, and they're so impactful and fun, and we're barely just scratching the surface of this. So that's it. And then rate and review. I mean, we already have the best reviews in the world. I can't even ask for more. They're wonderful and beautiful, but if you feel compelled to do that, that would be amazing. Amy and I are going to go to sleep.
Yes.
And then we are going to come back in 1 week and talk about all this other shit in Southern Charm for the first time.
Yes, next week.
I can't wait to see what the hell Craig and Shep and Austin have been up to.
Ba-ba-doo.
Bop-a-doo. So go to bed and wake up in 1 week, and you'll be ready for the next Turtle Time.
Good night.
Good night.
This one's for you tonight.